Yes, he is, Wayne. Hey, everybody. I'm Mike.
I'm Bob.
I'm Tim.
Oh, sure.
And I'm Jason.
And this is the Board Game Rundown. Welcome to Whiskey Wednesday, April 16th edition, where we cover games from the ground up. Welcome, everybody. We have Cysmic designer Jason Blake with us. Welcome to the show, Jason.
All right. Thanks so much for having me. I watch you guys off and on. It's always fun to be here on Whiskey Wednesdays. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're glad to have you on. I do want to just get this out of the way right now because since you agreed to be on, it's the only thing I could think of is
okay.
What did Terraforming Mars do to you so bad that you designed the anti-Terraforming Mars game?
Right? Yeah, I know, right? That's been the joke now for a little while that everybody seems to be making is like, as soon as you play Terraforming Mars, you just go ahead and like shove that out of the way and then you set up Seismic and you just keep going. And
right.
Yeah, it's like a sequel that nobody asked for.
Yeah. Well, I asked for it. I anytime we can blow up Terraforming Mars, I'm here for it. So thank you for that.
Right. Yeah, it's strange, there's a lot of when I did this theme, there was nothing like it out on the market. That was back in like 2017. And I had this whole idea from, a long time ago when I was, I don't know if you guys remember this movie called Titan AE. It's an old movie from like the early 2000s. And the first like 10, 15 minutes of that movie is just phenomenal. It's just a great movie. And that whole intro is everybody basically evacuating the planet and everybody's taking off. And at the very last second, in this case, in that movie, it's aliens. But in this case, the planet is blowing up and there's this huge like mega ship leaving. And it was just the coolest thing. And I was like, man, that is just a really impressive, beginning to a movie. And so I always wanted to, I thought, how can I turn that into a game? And so, it's funny, at the time, there was nothing out there. And then you guys covered this one yourselves not that long ago. How to Save a Planet is, fairly new. That one's going to be fulfilling, pretty quick. And then there's, several other games now. Evacuation was another one just recently, big Euro game. There's still, even though the theme now starts to kind of, has been out there a little bit, there's still nothing like Seismic on the market. So I'm still happy about that, at least theme-wise, not theme-wise, but everything else.
Well, and for those of you that don't know, you should, shame on you. No, I'm just kidding. Basically, you were playing as like different corporations, different entities, and you have just mined the hell out of this planet to the point where it's becoming unstable, and you are trying to gather all your stuff up and get on this ship and get the hell out of there. And literally, that's the ground beneath your feet is crumbling away. And
that's true.
I thought it was awesome. I really loved you had me at the concept, and then I enjoyed the execution as well. But nice. Yeah. I thought it was very cool. When our buddy West, mutual friend, West Todd, was like, guys, I got this game you got to see. And West is putting it out. He's like, I'll get there and I'll set it up early. And I could see why. But man, it was crazy. It was really cool. And again, I hadn't played anything like it. I do have a problem though with your disparaging the flat earthers because you're able to travel your planet's round.
It looks flat.
Right. Yeah, I was, I just clearly I've lost an audience there. I can't satisfy everybody. So all the flat earthers are going to be running for the hills.
Well, hopefully they make other games to prove their theory right and why yours is wrong, and then that'll just keep your game in the spotlight.
I was wondering if we were going to find yourselves covering games with like a table presence or something tonight, because this has got to be one of the biggest, most epic boards I've seen. And I have one of the biggest tables I know. I had a custom built table that's like 6.5 by 3.5, and this took up every bit of it. We're like, we better play this at Mike's house because that's where it's gonna fit.
We had to play it on his roof because we couldn't even get it through the front door. I'm just
I don't know that it's that bad, but it is a bit.
And I say that with love because if you know Bob and I, you know we love games with massive table presence. We love peacocking at the conventions, right? We would have put out the prettiest, best looking boards.
What? Oh, this?
Oh yeah. Oh, you noticed?
Yeah. Sorry, it's in the way sometimes. But no, yeah, that board was amazing. Like how the tiles and everything's just falling apart and you're falling down below. And Tim had that card that made him not have to deal with that so much, and that was terrible.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I was pretty relaxed that whole game. I thought
what? Oh, the ground fell? Oh, yeah. Interesting.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It really is a fun time. It's a game that clearly is I'm super passionate about. I've been working on it forever. Even now, as I'm getting really close here to manufacturing, I'm still tweaking just wording. I'm tweaking cards. There's 27 different factions in the game, each with 3 to 4 different abilities, and it's just going to be. I think when everybody finally gets it on their doorstep, I really am hoping for the best. I'm hoping that everybody really does enjoy it and that it lives up to the insane table presence. I know you guys tended to enjoy your time with it that you had with West, and so I'm hoping that everybody really gets a kick out of it. I've been having a great time showing it off at conventions, and like you say, when one of the biggest things about it, people can't walk by the table when it's set up. They have to just stop and look at all this. And of course,
I mean, it has
the new
gravitational pull.
Right. Yeah. But the new ships are all magnetic. The board is magnetic as well. Everything is made out of acrylic. There's almost nothing cardboard. Even the main board itself now is magnetic. And so, I've gone all out on the production on it. So I'm super happy with it. I was just printing out new material last night as kind of a final proofing and checking. So I'm super pumped for it. I can't wait to deliver it to everybody. And hopefully, if this world will get its act in order here, I can actually deliver it sometime in July. Yeah, that's a whole different topic, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
The whole thing being magnetic and acrylic, and that sounds awesome.
Yeah, the game weighs 25 pounds.
Oh, go on.
So sorry, I was just going to say the game
super cheap to ship.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's like a couple of bucks. No big deal.
20 something pounds, you said?
Yeah, 25 and a half pounds currently.
It's a lot of game.
Yeah.
What was Gloomhaven, like 18, right?
Yeah, Gloomhaven was 18. I don't have a game in my collection that I know of that will weigh as much. It's this
Wargame was pretty big and heavy, but I don't think it was quite that much either.
Maybe the Frostpunk iceberg box, or maybe Hate. Those I remember being very, very heavy.
There's still a lot of space.
Hate's bigger, but not as heavy. I think you got to get into chip theory land if you want to get heavier.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Something maybe chip theory.
Yeah, you need the too many bones. Everything.
Too many bones. All my extra characters all in one box, and that sucker is hefty.
Oh yeah, that I can believe.
On the side.
yeah, for sure.
That box has its own weight class in
boxing.
Yeah, in boxing.
Right. That's awesome.
Heavyweight.
But Carlos wants to know, how did the concept of a crumbling seismic world come into play mechanically and thematically? Man, Carlos isn't even letting you get warmed up.
I didn't do any research.
Man,
all my good questions.
Hardball questions right out of the gate. Yeah, no, it's well, and for anybody just joining, I was kind of talking about this just a little while ago. I was actually inspired by, believe it or not, the movie Titan AE. That is a movie from around 2000. It was in fact, somebody mentioned this earlier.
Bankrupted the studio.
It did actually. It actually bankrupted that studio, and it really is sad because the movie is actually pretty good. There's a lot of really, really cool sci-fi elements to it, but the beginning about 15 minutes is just phenomenal storytelling in just such a compacted moment. And, when you have a movie also where there's almost no buildup, this is like, the movie gets going, but like the first 15 minutes or so is this epic, crazy adventure that the audience is just thrown right into. And so one of the games, and we'll talk about this later on, but one of the games that I really loved is Eclipse, and a game that I really like as well is Twilight Imperium. And, those are great games, but I always felt like, you're building up towards this end game where there's like a big mega fight in Eclipse, or this, this almost, big crescendo with Twilight Imperium. And I felt like they give you all these really cool toys, but you don't get to play with them. The game's over when you finally get all your cool toys. So thematically, the same way that Titan AE tells that story at the very, very beginning, they just throw you right in the middle of everything. They don't do these long character intros. They don't do anything. They let the audience actually like live through that beginning moment. And so the whole point of Cysmic is I wanted everybody to have their toys right away. I wanted that. Don't terraform a planet. That's boring. We're all going to just do that. Now the planet's falling apart. I want the planet to actually like start falling apart, and I want you to have your toys right away. And I want, all of this stuff to start, going haywire right from the beginning. And that's exactly what happens.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of me renting an Alyssa Milano movie in the 90s. You just fast forward to the good part and you just get it going.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I it is kind of fun though in Cysmic how you are kind of immediately under the gun, like, okay, here we go. Like it's already going south. Oh, you need to get stuff. Great. But it's just going to start triggering immediately, I just really like how fast it felt like it started, but yeah, looking forward to seeing all the updated stuff. 'Cause man, that game is bougie as hell. It looks so good.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it really has been a blast. And thematically was the easy part. The mechanical part, to follow up on the second part of that question, the thing is, what's different about Cysmic, I think a lot of people, designers, I think they go in designing a game where they like certain mechanisms. They go, oh, I want to make a worker placement game because I like worker placement, or I want to make a deck builder, or whatever. I don't really gravitate towards mechanics as much as I gravitate towards story and theme. And so, and I've told this story before. This really impacted me. I read a how to write good kind of book by Stephen King a long time ago.
Oh, and Danse Macabre, yeah, one of those, yeah.
Well, it's actually one of his. It's actually on writing, and he talks about how his style of writing is. He doesn't actually like just sit down and write a story. He quote unquote lets the story write itself. And so that's kind of what I was doing with this. Is I said, okay, I know what I want. I know the theme that I want to do. I want to do this big, crazy, epic, 3-dimensional game. I don't, at the time I was kind of tired of all these flat games, and I said, I want all these miniatures. I want interactive miniatures. I want all these things going on. How can I get the players immediately integrated, and how can I work all this in? So the mechanics for Cysmic really are built from the theme. So every time I said, okay, well, how do I make a crumbling planet? And initially, the planet was actually 10 layers deep. And of course, now you guys know after playing it, it's actually just, 2 layers. But, it was trial and error and kind of iterating and evolving. But I wanted to make sure that there was this feeling of urgency, that every action you took in the game felt like it was important. And so it's a race, and I built the mechanics in the game to meet the theme's needs, instead of what happens most of the time, which is where they come up with a mechanic or they come up with an idea and then they kind of flesh it out. And then what happens is, they sell it to a publisher, or they slap on some theme that maybe doesn't really meet what the mechanics are doing. And so I have a major disconnect in a lot of board games these days, where the themes never really feel like, they're meeting the mechanics. I don't know. How do you guys feel about stuff like that?
I mean, if I don't know. I'm kind of a hypocrite. I like both. I like a great theme, but sometimes if the theme is a dud, if the game's good enough, that's fine. Right. But I do like it when a game feels thematic. I guess it is like a little extra, on there that just makes the game better for me personally. I will speak for the guys, but I do like a good theme in a game.
Yeah, cool. I love a good theme. Like Abomination, I love Abomination.
And hell yeah.
It's a good one.
And I'm putting them on the table, and then I'm hitting the electricity. Like, all that theme kind of just like oozes out of there. And like, yeah, it's just worker placement. But I feel like what I'm doing makes so much sense to the theme, and how like I'm losing my humanity, but yet I'm learning knowledge, and it's just a lot to balance. But I love that how that theme plays into everything. So
I got started as a Euro gamer, so for me, what fires the synapses are mechanics that make sense. But what I found over time is that when there's games that have thematic reasoning for their rules, and I'm not just saying, well, this is happening because of a rule. It's happening because of this thing going on that fits the theme of the game. There's definitely more immersion, and it's easier to teach and grok the game as you play it. So those kind of games, definitely stand the test of time, I think, more.
That's a great point, Mike, because when the theme makes sense, it makes a game a lot easier to teach when the theme makes sense. I feel like that's a really good point, Mike. I didn't even think of that.
I like when I can teach a game, and part of my teach is explaining the theme because that helps people understand the mechanics better, for sure.
Yeah. I was gonna say, it's kind of like you were saying how you don't want a rule to dictate like how the game plays or whatever. And like the CMON with the shooting into a square full of zombies and you're going to hit your guys first. Like, what? That makes no thematic sense. So we just made it make thematic sense, and then the game plays the way it should. And then lo and behold, they're like, oh yeah, we should do that.
To go back to what you were talking about, like creating a sense of urgency. That's why I've kind of stayed on this GIF right here. As soon as you see somebody start getting higher up than you on getting that rocket ship
more pieces
built,
in there,
you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's time to start building that thing, which I think for me is definitely the coolest part of the game, and seeing this thing gradually get constructed as you go. And the fact that you've literally got a miniature that's holding the parts in place and you're slotting them in there, that was
as you're
pretty epic for sure. Yeah.
I think the question everybody has though, Jason, is when are you going to design a game with table presence?
Well, I figured I'd start really small, like with Cysmic, and then I'm going to do something much bigger later. So,
just to give an idea of scale, this thing alone, it's been a minute. What, 7-8 inches tall? Probably.
Yeah, it's just shy of 7 inches. 7 inches tall. Yeah, it's huge. The thing is crazy. Yeah. And of course, in a 6-player game, there's 6 of these things around the table, all in various stages of being built. And then you've got all the miniatures. I mean, the mech is like 4.5 inches tall, and there's all the miniatures in the game are just big scale. Everything I wanted to feel like epic.
This is Mike Giuliano here saying hi. But it really is pretty awesome seeing everything kind of get built and deconstruct at the same time.
We need to put Googs on the spot. Googs, why didn't Third World Studios sign this? I'm just kidding. Can't cost that much to make. It's basically just cards and then 80 pounds of materials.
Right. Yeah, I'm making the game with Longpack Manufacturing in China, of course, and they've talked to me several times about taking my game after it's completed, and they're going to show it around at various conventions, trade shows as one of their crown jewels of all their production stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so, so that's really exciting. And I talked to them about it and I said, how much is how far in the production level of quality is Cysmic compared to most of their stuff? And they're actually telling me that it's pretty darn expensive.
Right.
It may be one of the most expensive games that they've ever actually produced, particularly for an independent.
And like detailed and everything.
Yeah, but pretty amazing. Is this your first game? I'm a bad host.
It is. It is. That actually is. It's my very first game. It was something that I started looking into. And what's funny is I had played so many games, like all of us, in the hobby. Everybody had done so many, same kind of games. And this game, I just hadn't seen a game like it. And so I literally said to some of my game friends, I was like, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to make a game. I bet you I can come up with a game. I can probably do that in a couple of weekends." And and I had no idea.
Oh man.
I mean, the amount of math that goes into board games once you truly start designing is absolutely incredible. I tell people all the time that, it's basically board games are just Excel spreadsheets with pretty pictures on front. It's trying to balance things, trying to come up with to make sure that mechanics not only work, but they actually feel fun. And a player also has to be engaged. That's the other biggest problem. You want good decisions. You want, you want something that doesn't overstay its welcome, which Seismic can get long at times, but the more you play it, obviously it like any game, it becomes very, very quick and second nature. And so I actually prefer the game at higher player counts, and a 6-player game is relatively easy to pull through in about 2.5 to 3 hours. So, and for a game of this magnitude with 6 players, that's almost unheard of when you're talking about something like Twilight Imperium or, something similar.
Now, go on, Mike.
Oh, you talk about balance. That's especially important when you start talking about adding asymmetry into the game, right? Because now you've got completely different, ways of strategizing the game, and that's where people will really start to notice if things don't math out.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, to be fair, with 27 different factions, I actually did the math not that long ago, and it was like 400,000 different combinations of 27 factions at a 2 to 6 player count that you could possibly iterate. And of course, there's not enough hours in all of our lifetimes to sit down and play the game that many times. And that would literally be one time in each iteration of all the different combinations of player counts and factions. So at some point, I'm sure, as the game makes it out there and there's thousands and thousands and thousands of plays, somebody's going to say, "Oh my God, this faction's broken," or whatever. And so I'm sure there's going to be things like that I'm going to have to, put out a errata or something like that, because there's just, again, with so much asymmetry, surely there's going to be, somebody's going to come up with something that I haven't thought of or anybody else has. But yeah, I mean, overall, I've had the game play tested over 1,000 times by myself, just among all of the different conventions and play testing myself and everything else. So I think almost everybody I know feels the game is relatively balanced. There's certain cards clearly that are better than others, but there's some of those now I'm labeling in the final copy as molten core cards, which are going to be basically, if you think they're too crazy, you can actually pull them out. There's going to be a little molten core symbol, and you can pull those if you do feel like they're a little too over the top.
Nice.
But again, some of them are meant to be too, right?
Sure. Now,
it's that kind of game.
Yeah. No, I have to compliment you on the way your action selection works, like where you play those cards and then you activate the different, based on the, on the card. Yeah. You're activating those spots on your faction board. And I don't know that I've really played anything quite like that. I really thought that was really unique and interesting as well.
That took a long time, have you guys ever heard of a game called Assault of the Giants? It's a Dungeons and Dragons theme game. Okay,
yeah, WizKids, I think.
Yeah. It's relatively old. I don't know. It came out in mid-teens, I guess. So it's probably a 10-plus-year-old game. The game is okay. It isn't amazing, but their mechanism for playing cards is very, very cool. And one of the things I liked about it was that cards kind of build upon themselves. And I wanted to steal that mechanic so bad. I was like, oh, I really like that. I'd like to do something similar. So I kind of played around with the idea of having to spend a card to be able to play a card. So that was the cost, and then I came up with this whole list of other things because I've seen in so many other games where when you take an action, particularly a card-based action system, and when you play a card, if the card just, if it doesn't do a whole lot, you just feel like, and so what I was, what I was really wanting to do is I wanted to make sure every turn felt important to the player. Every turn the player was engaged. And so, I added that entire system down below to make sure that no matter whether your card play was ideal and efficient or not, I wanted to make sure that you always have more options to still accomplish things. And so it kind of feels like you're really doing big swings.
Yeah, it just didn't feel like, oh, my cards suck. Like I remember feeling like I've got choices. And when I play games like this, I don't always have to be great at them. I just want to feel like I've got a lot of choices. You know what I mean? And I can try to do different things. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks. It took a long time to kind of refine that. But yeah, that seems to be the thing that really most people are drawn to, is that action system with the bonus action beneath. And the bonus actions are just, they get progressively more powerful as you go across from left to right. And, the first time you're playing the game, you may not really understand all those different options. And that's by design. That's meant for you to kind of explore and experience all the things that you can do, because there are 25 different actions on the player board that you can do based on timing, based on state of the board, based on what cards you've played. And then you have actually 4 other actions that you can always do at the bottom. So every single turn, you should be able to be accomplishing something and feeling like you did a lot. Even though the turns, for the most part, still don't always take a whole lot of time for each player. And every player is also engaged, because almost every decision a player makes involves everybody at the table. So that was another thing I wanted to make sure that everybody always felt like they were not just waiting for their turn,
Yeah, well, that board feels really small. It looks big, but you learn very quickly how small that board really does feel. So... all right, we'll take one more from Carlos, and then we can get into the topic. But this is a good one. So, is there any strategies that players have used that surprised you?
You actually touched on it. You and Bob actually in the original video of you guys playing the game and talking about it after the fact. One of the things that was not my design, I built this into the game after people asked me about it multiple times at conventions, and that is using the colony ship itself as an actual offensive unit. And people run over other people's units nearby with the colony ship. And it was by design early on that I wanted people's units to be destroyed, because I want you to spread out. I don't want you to kind of sit and turtle around your base. I want everybody to spread out. So I wanted your units as a player to be, the liability, of having them too close to your colony ship. But what happened as people started going in and attacking, other people started asking me at conventions, well, can I just run over their units? And I'm like, I mean, yes. And so that really did surprise me. That was one of the things. And believe it or not, that has become one of the most popular parts of the game at conventions that people seem to talk about, is running over, like, power mechs, or running over harvesters or something, with a colony ship. And that was never meant to be an offensive unit by any means. And somehow it just turned into that. So yeah, that was one of those things that just kind of evolved just from other people's experiences in the game. Great question. That's a good one.
Yeah, that was good. Also keep in mind who taught us the game. It was West, so he is the most devious bastard.
Yes.
You've got to go pretty underhanded when playing against him.
Absolutely.
That was cool though, and really funny. It's kind of funny to hear that was not, or sort of a bug, not a feature kind of thing, right? Like, well, yeah, I guess.
It was cool.
It was very cool, and it's always funny though too, right? Like, because you're like, well, I guess here we go. Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's always fun times.
All right, so I guess we had like a bunch of different options for topics and things we could talk about. I'm sure we will get into some more like, production stuff as the night goes on. But
sure.
It's kind of fun to just throw a top 5 out there. So we're kind of batting around some ideas. Mike, you should have spoke up and said table presence, because I threw out sci-fi games. Table presence would have been apropos as well. Maybe even more so. It's hard to say. But anyway, so we're gonna do top 5 sci-fi games. Did you guys have any like criteria for your lists or anything like that, or is it just like, hey, these are my favorite ones? And
I actually left off all the big IPs.
I took 0 IPs with mine as well.
Yeah, I did that, and I left off games I talk a lot about here recently. There's a couple of games, because if we're doing games, because it's games I want to play, but obviously I left off my number 1 because
for a reason. I figured Mike would talk about it anyways, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's funny. That's me and Bob doing reverse psychology here. So we'll just address the elephant in the room.
Don't say it just in case it's on Jason's list.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
Oh,
no,
right. Who knows?
It's a game we have in common.
No, you're right. But no, I avoided IPs, and I actually avoided all space games because I think that's the low-hanging fruit of the sci-fi world. Mm-hmm. I've got some as honorable mentions. If one of you guys steals one of my picks, maybe a space game sneaks in here. But I went no space games.
Nice.
Okay.
I got a mix. I got a lot of options. I got a lot of extras. I wrote down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I wrote down 11.
There you go.
So I got some alternates.
I believe I have a different universe / type of fiction in each one as well. So
you said
lots of
representation.
Yeah.
Jason, any criteria for your list tonight?
I did not leave off IPs. I actually have 2 different IP games, and I'm not actually a big IP person, but I went and actually looked through my collection, and it's funny. I've got so many games that are on my short favorites list that I just talk about all the time. And I started realizing, because I'm like a sci-fi guy at heart, I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to be easy. In fact, it's going to be really hard for me to knock it down to even 5. Believe it or not, the more I started looking through my collection, the more I was like, wow, a lot of the games I really like are not sci-fi. It's bizarre,
nice.
So I did. So I did look through, and I do actually have a pretty reasonable list, I think. So, but there are a couple IPs, and some of them are space, so you can't really get away from that.
Hey,
and I'll not do the faux pas and pick Cysmic. I'm not going to pick.
I think that's not a faux pas. That's not a faux pas. Not at all.
Right.
Not at all. One of my favorite, one of our favorite guests, Seppi. If we don't put Seppi Yoon from Fight in a Box, if we have to put his game on our list, because if we don't, he will. So we got to do it to snipe him. I do it as an aggressive tactic against Seppi, just to take him down a peg. But he's an awesome dude. I love him.
Carlos over here keeps dropping bombs, so I'm just going to go ahead and highlight it, and then we can jump into this. He's got another great question with, how would you make a world feel fresh, not derivative of existing IPs like Star Wars or Dune?
Ooh, I know the answer to this. He went off of the biggest existing IP, which is real life.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's awesome.
Sorry. Jason, real answer now. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, kind of that's actually kind of what I did with Cysmic, because I actually built this entire universe that I felt like could, go into various other directions. I actually have this whole lore background. I have all these different characters. I have all their interactions. I was even possibly going to write a little novel to go with the game at some point. I've got a full sequel to the game that actually is where you're done with Cysmic, you swipe it to the side, and Cysmic 2 is the exact same kind of premise, where it's a direct follow-up, and the ship is now broken into 6 sections that you built on the planet, but now you've just launched, and now the players around the table are playing the groups of the different people in each faction, or the faction in each part of the ship. So you've got the crew bridge, at the top where you've got the people doing all that. You've got the colonists who now want to go to a certain place. Maybe they want to go home to Earth. You've got the people who are working in the warp drive area, which is kind of your blue collar guys, and so I've got all these ideas to kind of keep going with Cysmic as an IP if it gets well received. The big joke is, of course, when everybody loves, I'll go to Netflix and then we'll make a full miniseries with $50 million episodes. But
there you go.
So that's how you can make an IP without falling on Dune or Star Wars.
So are the rumors true then that Cysmic 2?
But I think there's all kinds of scenarios.
The board for Cysmic 2 is really just going to be a 6 foot tall rocket that's like got hollowed out sections, and you're manipulating your pieces in each individual level.
It's like a U-boot on crack.
Yeah.
The board's an area rug, I heard.
Right. It'll be like a standee board, like at the movie theater. Right. Yeah, it comes with a free house to play it in.
Try shipping that.
I'm in.
That's awesome.
Right. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. That's cool. Thank you for being a good sport. I will quit messing with you, I promise.
Love it.
No, I couldn't help it. I had all these jokes in the chamber. I got to use them up real quick. No, that's cool though. We're gonna, Mike. What were you gonna say?
Hey, we got a topic. So, sci-fi games it is. So there you go. The first game you hang from the ceiling.
There you go.
Indeed.
So as usual, we'll start with Bob. We'll go clockwise, and we'll end with me, which means that, per usual, we start with Bob's number 5.
Well, like I said earlier, my fruit hangs low. It's space-based, but it's the best version of this game because it happens in space. But no, it is Catan Starfarers. It's in space.
Checked it off my list. There you go. Good job.
Nice.
It's great. It's the best version of Catan. I want to play this. I haven't played it in a while. If you haven't played this version and you've played the other Catan, play this version. You'll like it more.
Do we haul this down to IndieCon and play it?
Ooh, that's not a bad
Seriously,
idea.
I'm in. Yeah.
Okay.
I like Catan, and I've never played this version.
Oh, this is the version.
I own that game as well.
Nice.
Look at that. That ship is almost as good as the Seismic ship. It's the same size.
Just about. But no, that's your mothership.
Size. Right? It is the same size.
Your pods on there, your guns, your boosters, and that's gonna boost all your other ships you have moving around the board. There's going to be a part where you can turn upside down and flip it, and whatever the color of the balls are is like how far you're moving, or if you're having an encounter. I mean, the other Catan doesn't have encounters that are like choose your own adventure. And then the biggest fix I like is how at the beginning of the game you're always getting the 2 resources each time, because you could be on 6 and 8 and everybody's rolling 9s and 10s and you're just not getting any resources in the original and just get screwed from the beginning. But this one, it keeps feeding you resources until you have a chance to get diversified enough. And then you start to get fewer and fewer, but it helps to push the game along.
It does. Sure. It does. It feels good.
Definitely halt in the mid game if nobody's getting resources, for sure.
Yeah.
It feels good. It keeps you engaged. I like it. This game was awesome. It really surprised me on how much I enjoyed it, to be honest.
Nice.
Great pick, Bob.
Hey, thanks.
Okay, I'm going to go with a sneaky, low-key. You may not realize that this is sci-fi, but I genuinely believe it is. And I'm talking about It's a Wonderful World. Is my number 5 sci-fi game. One of my favorite engine builders right now. I need to play this game again. I haven't played it in ages, or at least in a couple months. But just the way that you are... you just get a ton of resources really fast, and you get those cards down and you fire off those engines and you just feel like you're getting a ton of stuff. and it feels really good and nice.
I just got it in with the expansions just yesterday, as a matter of fact. I have not actually played it, but I've heard wonderful things about it.
It's a good one.
I really hope I don't overhype it for you, but I absolutely love this game. I was way late to the party on it. Played like
not as late as me.
Yeah, that's fair. Played like a 6-player game of this, and with Teach, I mean, it went so fast. It really did. It was under an hour and a half, probably. It's really cool. I enjoy the components. The art's beautiful. The engine building aspect of it is super fun. I like the little jokes on the cards, things like that. Like, you just got to look at the cards and look at the names. Not every card, right? But there's definitely some in there.
Yeah, there's some Easter eggs.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a wonderful world. When I was walking around looking at my collection, I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely a sci-fi one.
Yeah, this is a really good one. Probably one of my favorite drafting games. I like how fulfilling it is when you get all your resources to perfectly line up with the inputs on the cards that you've chosen to construct, and you're firing everything off. It's really good. And like you said, it plays quick. And if you have the expansion, it supports 8, which is great.
Nice.
And even at 8, you can play this in under an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes fast. It goes really fast.
I have one weird nitpick about this game, and you talk about the art. I'm not a fan of how they drew this guy's face. It just,
well, Mike, he just farted, and he's waiting for you to smell it.
That's the only thing that makes sense, Tim. And his face, as you know, is on multiple chips on this game that score you points if you have the right cards. I don't know. His face has always been weird art for me, but otherwise, I agree. I do like the art in the game.
That's awesome. Well, I'm really pumped to play it. I've heard really good things about it forever. What's weird is I actually could not find the game. It was not available for a long time. And I looked around on like Amazon. I looked around at like my local game store, and I'm like, hey, does anybody have this? I don't know what it was, just maybe where I was at the time, or maybe at the time I was looking, they didn't have another run out. I don't know, but
maybe it was in between print runs or something. Yeah.
That's what I'm guessing, because every time I went looking for it, even at like, game bazaars and stuff to kind of swap and with other people, I never could lay hands on it. So I ended up just this week, I bought I had some credit on I don't know, it was Shop or something, the stupid online thing, and I just found a game store in like New Jersey, and I bought all the whole thing, and it just came in yesterday. So
well, I hope you love it.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty pumped to play it. I want to play it this weekend. So
there you go.
Yeah, it's good.
For me, my number 5 is relatively new. It is a game called Revive. Do you guys know that one?
I know of it.
I'm aware of it, but haven't played it.
And I have not played it yet.
It is a Euro, definitely more so than anything else. It is there is so many good decisions on every turn. And what's funny is I have this bizarre relationship with Euro games. When I sit down and play a Euro game, particularly for the first time, whenever somebody starts explaining the rules, if I haven't read the rule book myself, and they, by the time like 30 minutes has gone by and your eyes are glazed over and you're like, how are you going to remember all these stupid things? That this game is one of those. It's not nearly as bad as, say, a Lacerda game or something like that, but there is a lot going on. And but believe it or not, it makes reasonable sense, and the iconography is very good. The game mechanisms and everything kind of makes sense. It's probably more abstract than a really big time theme, but the idea is that everybody has, you're trying to revive humanity. The whole world has, kind of fallen apart, and it's kind of a post-apocalyptic style theme, and you're trying to bring people up out of these cryopod kind of thing. It's actually a little similar to the game Cryo as well. Same people, as a matter of fact, I believe. But anyway, the game has really good decision making. The biggest problem I have, believe it or not, is it's only 4-player, and I end up with so many times game nights where I've got 5. many times even 6. I just don't get it to the table as much.
Sure.
You know, I'd like to get it there. And the teach on it can be a little brutal, but it's really once everybody kind of starts getting into it, it's very quick and easy to pick up. It's good stuff.
Right on. Right on.
We actually just shot a video of like the top 10 games on our shelf of shame that we want to get out and play. This was really high up my list. A lot of people have talked this game up for a while. So
I'm really recommend
excited to get this one played. I can't wait.
Definitely do it. Yeah, definitely do it.
Jeff asked if there any love for First Rat. I haven't played it, man. It's kind of on my wish list. I would love to try it out.
In my collection, I picked it up a couple months ago. So I'm gonna probably dive into that one fairly soon.
And then Carlos wanted to know a favorite Easter egg in a board game, sci-fi or otherwise. I mean, I could tell you that like without stepping on anyone's lists, I will say that most of the Munchkin games get a lot of hate, but they got some really good Easter eggs in there on those cards.
Well, there goes my 4 through 1.
That is true.
Damn, I just ruined Bob's list. The rest of his list.
Well, I'm even here now.
Nice.
You're just redundant, Bob.
Yeah.
I don't want to like name specific ones because I really try to not talk about other games just in case they're on people's lists so that they don't get stepped on. But but any game, that is true. That's Mike Square on the bingo card. But any game that I think that you play, well, there's a lot of games out there that have a nice sense of humor. And a lot of those games tend to sneak in little Easter eggs in there. But anyway, so sorry, Mike. Cheeky.
Okay, so we're going to go from one game about rebuilding humanity to another game about rebuilding humanity. Following a series of calamities that left civilization in shambles, societies around the world are being rebuilt anew in harmony with nature in Rebirth. Bob and I just reviewed this weekend, and this is a Reiner Knizia tile laying game. I'll be honest, it's not like super thematic, but when I was just kind of scrolling through what has a science fiction theme on it, I'm like, I'm going to talk about something I recently played and really liked. And of course, Reiner Knizia is one of the masters of these really easy to teach tile laying games, and Rebirth was, I thought, exceptional. All you do on your turn is just play a tile, score it, and then draw another tile to play on your next turn. But there's so many things to consider when you do that. Like you're trying to control these castles by putting more tiles next to it. There's cathedrals out there that as soon as you place something adjacent to it, you get to draw these like in-game scoring cards. And there's just really light rules. It's very easy to pick up, but there's a lot to consider on your turn. As far as like crunch per rule, this ranks just super high for me because it is very easy to learn, but there's a lot actually going on your turn to consider. To where some people could even be AP. There's a lot of options with that one single tile placement. And whether it's you want, scoring for the end of the game or immediate scoring, because like these little farm tiles with the grain, the more of those you get adjacent to each other, each one scores a point. So do you create a chain of like 7, 8 adjacent of these farm tiles? Or do you try to start spreading them out and controlling castles? I found this one really, really good, and I just wanted another chance to talk about it.
Mike, I think I found your problem, though, because you said, do you do this or that? And you needed to be doing both with the same play, and you probably could have scored twice as many points.
Bob smokes me in both we played. I got destroyed, and I still loved this game.
Did Bob teach you? Because usually that's what happens.
Nope. No. Literally, like this came in a box Friday or Thursday night. punched it, learned it Thursday night, and then Friday night we're playing it. Sunday we're reviewing it. So quick turnaround, but man, it's really
that's
good.
Cool.
And to be fair, I mean, I had bought the game before, pulled the rule book out and read it, but then I traded it before I had a chance to play it. And now that I've played it, I have actually now traded for a copy back. I'm pretty sure I came out ahead of the deal because that's the trade in which I got my Inferno. So
there you go. Worth it.
These castles and cathedrals are this new like German rewood too. It's like a really detailed, cool. Recycled wood waste.
Yeah.
Excellent use of materials that they've put in this.
Instead of being like a plywood, they just ground it all down with like some glue and then formed it and like sawdust in glue and like.
I think we need to go the other way in the industry, and we need to get like those Big Mac styrofoam containers from the 80s and start making, because those are all still there. They haven't gone anywhere. You make a game out of that, it'll last forever.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, Wayne, I can see this one getting played a lot. It's really
plays
easy
quick
to
too. It'd be interesting to play with a higher player count.
Yeah, there's like no downtime in this.
AP, it goes pretty quick. And
I'm excited to play this.
Did you order those yet?
Not yet. I'm trying to make sure I got the right size, and if I can find flat bottom, I may have to settle for no flat bottom, but that's all right.
Yeah. Well, I got a set I can show you. I'm gonna see if you. Because you better reach in there and pull out, right? You just reach in. You can't get your whole mitten there. You're not getting your mitten.
Small hands here.
Yeah, Wayne got the reference. It's the old Dennis Leary bit. Anyways, Bobby.
Yeah.
Let's see if Mike's ready to throw up the number 4.
My number 4. Tim threw me at this game. He booked these people for our booth, and he's like, "Play this game. You're gonna like it." And he was right. I don't erase that. Go back and delete that part. Never put that part again. But Lunar Rush was fantastic.
Oh god!
Yes.
Timing. They're trying to like load your ships and get everything to land there like at one time, so you can have a huge turn, and then you're sending all that stuff back to Earth. And another one of those games where like the mechanics and everything kind of makes sense with what's going on, and like the fluctuating market and trying to get your ships to land right at the right time, so you sell your stuff for the most money. Yeah, it was good.
You're welcome, Bob.
Yeah, thanks.
This game is damn good.
At the convention, Tim's like, "Go play this. You're gonna like it." I'm like, "Okay," and that was like for like on camera. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is honestly one of the most underappreciated games of the last couple of years. The fact that this is still 5,000 plus is insane to me. Yeah. This game's fantastic. You see what I rank it. I was going to put it at 5 until I was like, let me see if Bob puts it on his list, and then I can pretend I avoided space themes. But this game is incredible. I love this one.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome.
There's an expansion coming out too, I think I saw.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get to check that out.
Lunar Rush. You cannot copyright the moon. No IP indeed. Good one. Good job.
I'm pretty sure it's public domain until we change it to the Moon of America.
Right. Right.
True. God.
Our tax dollars at work. That's where the tariff money's going to.
It is.
Renaming the moon.
Well, we send all this stuff to the moon and they don't send anything back to us. So
man, that's a huge deficit. We're going to have to just conquer it.
Tariffs. Yeah. Sending everything to the moon first for production and then sending it back. So
yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Bob,
the moon is the new 51st state.
Right.
Speaking of our Shelf of Shame list, you got a Storm Raiders enjoyer here.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, we got a list that'll be coming out next week of our Shelf of Shame. And spoiler, this was on Bob's list.
Yeah, it was on my list. I've been sitting on it for a while. It's a Shem Phillips. I want to get that played.
We missed an opportunity on Sunday. I'm just going to tell you right now. We should have done. I guess we could do it next week. We should just do top 5 zombie games for Easter.
Oh, yes.
Nice. Do it live.
Fantastic.
Do it live.
Love it.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's twice for Tim now.
Dang.
Tisk.
The fiction in this stream is Tim's internet supplier hanging strong.
Well, I mean, if we want to move on to Jason's four, we can go back and pick.
Sure, we can pick up Tim after the fact. I actually, I'm kind of struggling with all of mine. My number 4, I'm going to go ahead and choose Twilight Imperium, and I'm going to go with 4th edition. It's kind of a low-hanging fruit a bit, but I will tell you, that game, there is still nothing else like it on the market. You know, regardless of whether it's your cup of tea or not. You know, the amount of diplomacy, the intrigue that can happen in that game. The reason it wouldn't even be higher on my list is honestly still to this day the time commitment is so rough. But I've got the all the blinged out stuff. I've got the 8-player version with the expansion. We have played it on multiple occasions. I have played TI4 myself at least 10 times. I played the 3rd edition easily 10-15 times prior, and it's just one of those games that no matter what, every time you play it, there's stories to tell when you walk away from the table,
Right.
And it is, it's a marathon game. You can't, this is not something that you can't just introduce it to anybody. You have to, everybody needs to know what they're in for, and they need to get on board. Right. And and of course set it up ahead of time, all of that. But still to this day, there's actually a little touch of Twilight Imperium inside Cysmic. The political system in Twilight Imperium is just so well done, and I didn't want to bog down a game like Cysmic with that. But what I did do is I have the espionage expansion in Cysmic that is a little bit influenced by the laws and diplomacy and espionage going on in Twilight Imperium. So so I would put I'd put TI4 at my number 4.
So what makes you pick 4 over 3?
I think 4 honestly is just more streamlined now. 3 had some very cool things, particularly regarding goods. They streamlined that in 4. There's certain things that I still like about 3 that I was like, I'd really like to see them kind of bring that back. And they did a little bit in the expansion, the Prophecy of Kings expansion. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, I think just 4 is just a little bit more digestible. You can definitely do a 4 to 5 player TI4 game in about 4 to 5 hours. Mm-hmm. When even in the 3rd version, it would be 6+, Mm-hmm. So it is streamlined. And again, to use the word streamlined for something like Twilight Imperium is kind of funny to even mention that. But I do think 4 is probably the better version, particularly if anybody's getting into it now. So, okay. But that's what I picked for 4.
I do have my 3rd edition coffin box.
Nice.
TI3. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I eventually will end up with the 4th edition, but no rush because I play other people's right now.
Awesome.
Since Tim forfeited his right to go.
Hey, wait,
what? Oh.
No, look.
We allowed you your time. You stood silent.
Mike's Square is where fun goes to die, so we can't let it die yet. We gotta I love how offended Mike looked. What? No. Okay. My number 4 actually is kind of inspired a little bit by Carlos's question, where you want to talk about Easter eggs. So here's a little known game that we did cover. This game deserves more attention, and that is Utopia. You are time barons, and you are basically trying to travel through time, cause these sort of butterfly event, affect things that then can, set up history the way you need it and want it to be, right? Whatever suits your purposes. But you've got all these different locations you're going to. There's different characters you can recruit. One of my favorites is getting the David Bowie Star Child. There's just all kinds of cool stuff in there.
Help me find the right version of this. Is this the 2023 release here?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's the one.
Go on.
No, it's cool. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I like the art. I like the vibe. I enjoyed the play. I think that time travel is a underused theme. Sometimes I think it's hard to pull it off in a way that where it makes sense. Sometimes because I mean, even movies can barely do time travel in an interesting way most of the time. But time stories, all right, I'm not going to step on other people's stuff. Anyways, Utopia. I really like Utopia. Really like what it was trying to do. And I do feel like this game is pretty underrated.
Yeah, I haven't played it.
I didn't get to play that one.
I can't believe I didn't play this with you guys. Yeah.
Is it a card game? Tell me a little bit more about it. I'm actually curious now.
So you've got trying to remember now because it's been a little bit, but yes, you've got cards. There's a board, and you line the cards up in the different slots. So there's different actions, and you're trying to get the different cards, but you're also trying to meet the requirements for like certain events. I'm looking at some of the pictures that Mike is showing is like sparking my memory, but some really cool iconography. The cards do different things, kind of based on like the different types of characters from history or the future. So yeah, gosh, I'm trying to remember more about it, but it's really cool, really weird, really unique.
Is it like a deck builder?
It's more like a hand builder, I think, if I'm remembering correctly.
Okay. Tableau builder,
yeah.
I think. This is
okay, got it. Got it. Interesting. Okay.
I'm surprised I don't have my play of this logged. I think I remember this now. I'm trying to find our review video. Yep. I thought so. Yeah, it's the one where we've got the.
I did play this.
Our faces are on the card.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. The crazy.
This one.
Yeah, they put
That was funny.
That was nightmare fuel.
It is definitely more like a tableau building game.
Nice.
Right, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool.
It was good, unique.
Yeah, again, unique, right? Weird, unique. I was trying to challenge myself again, staying away from IPs, even though now I have like 15 games written down because I've been writing down more as I think about them. I'm like, oh yeah.
I've got 12 total.
Nice.
we can run through the other ones after our top 5.
Yeah, do a little honorable mentions, right?
Right. Well, Mike, what about you?
Guess it's over to me. All right. So I guess I'm going back to more like alternate history type games.
Yeah.
This one is a big, we're all big fans of this one, so I might be stealing somebody's pick, and that's okay. It deserves its spot because no one really knows what triggered the one-day war between the superpowers, but a single day is all it took to end the before world. After the government's collapse, leaderless groups of survivors huddled in the ruins of once great cities. The climate is brutal, resources are scarce, and mutant tribes are roaming the wastelands. The world desperately needs a hero to rally the people and lift them out of the ruins. In Stan Kordonsky's Resurgence, this is a really good like worker placement, bag building type of game where you're basically just kind of pulling different workers out of your bag, and your workers can only go in certain spots of the board. So as your that's the original box cover. This is now what you see on BGG. This is getting a reprint by Portal. Great that this will get wider distribution, but the original cover's better.
Agreed.
Yeah. But yeah, just kind of like how your workers sort of limit where you're able to go on the worker placement actions here. But really what makes this game sing is that you're able to get these action cards, and every time I go to this territory, I get this resource. Oh, that triggered my card where every time I get this resource, I get another resource. Oh, that triggered this other card where every time I get this resource, I get to do this bonus action. You get these chain reaction card synergies that are incredibly satisfying.
Mhm.
And I just love the way you get these chain reactions going on in this game. It's just very fulfilling to play. And of course, Stan Kordonsky, excellent designer.
Man, I got to be honest. I have never heard of this game.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how this one slipped by me.
This
This is
is
crazy.
Really good.
This is
I
one
keep
that like
talking
2 or
about-
3 turns in, I was like, this game's amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Mike. I was just too excited.
No. I keep bringing it up because I don't think it got the love it deserved. It kind of got
Agreed.
overshadowed by Endless Winter because Fantasia published it, and it was a
Right.
huge production.
Huge thing. Yeah.
This was self-published by Stan's company, Half a Kingdom Games, and because of that, it didn't fund as much. And Portal, I hope helps make this game more popular than what it is. It's my favorite Kordonsky game. I think it's truly fantastic, and it does need more love for sure.
I
but
love the putting the workers behind the screen and like planning kind of like those turns out, and then you reveal, and then you're gonna if you have the most people in that zone, you're going up on this track that's getting you more bonuses and stuff. Like that's
Mhm.
one of my favorite parts about it. It's just the whole hidden
Yeah.
planning. And then you can get will of workers that say after you reveal, you can move some guys around to help you gain advantages in different zones and kind of play that tactic.
And you can kind of build up your own little bunker here, and then you get your own
unlock
little
areas.
private worker placement actions to do. It's got all the stuff you want in a game with bag
Base
building
building,
and worker placement. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
I've
really
heard
good.
of the Stars of Aquarius, but I have yet to play it.
I have not played. So I've got the
Hmm.
first Kickstarter.
You guys are going to cost me money. I got to buy this Resurgence now.
This
Yeah, dude, Resurgence is fantastic. It's
Jason,
really-
What's up, Evan?
doing this show is bad for the wallet. I'm just telling you because you're like,
Tell me
oh,
about it.
and
what is that?
If you can get the wooden dudes, I recommend that. I'm not sure if they're all going to be cardboard right now, but like
Gotcha.
because it's a bag builder right here, click, 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 that tactile
Right.
feel.
Oh, yeah, for
definitely
sure.
helps. Yeah,
But
I'm-
Mike, you were saying this was a crowdfunding deal, but they're now going to reprint. Is that what you were saying?
getting a second run. Yeah.
Okay.
Just didn't get as wide of a distribution because it was Stan's
Half a Kingdom.
self-published.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, all of these first edition copies with this box art
Yep.
come
Mhm.
with the wooden chits. So
Right.
I gotcha.
yeah,
Yeah, if you can find
I
that
don't
copy, you'll be good.
I don't know exactly about this new version from Portal or what to expect component
Right.
wise.
Well, if you click that third one over, Mike. Other way. Keep going. There you go. Oh, go back. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Go to the third one. Look, see if it was, I was trying to see if it looked like the cardboard punch outs. Keep going to the right. Looks like more. There you go. Oh no, okay, those are just special holders.
Yeah, those are still the wood
Those are pretty
ones.
nice. Yeah, those are the wooden ones.
That's just somebody 3D
Oh.
printed.
Yeah, somebody
some-
3D printed little holders.
this
for their
stuff
food.
doesn't come with it, but
No, the bags
This
do.
is this same guy did Rurik, and he also
Yeah.
did Nova Roma. I actually
Yeah.
love both of those games.
yes,
I need to lay hands on this. I didn't realize that was the
Yeah.
same designer.
Yeah, really good designer.
Kordonsky's
Yeah.
great.
I'm just
He's
trying to trade them
he's
over.
put out a ton of fantastic designs. Endless Winter's pretty solid. Minos was his most recent one I want to get my hands on.
Gotcha.
But yeah, he's got a
I
bunch of
actually
good
did
ones.
not like Endless Winter. I was not a big fan of that one. It's just like somebody just got a wheelbarrow of mechanics and dumped them in a box. I just was not a big fan.
I hadn't played it, so I don't have an opinion.
I sold my copy. I just thought it was too much. It was just too discordant. Everything felt like it was just like 100 mini games all in front of you that you could just do, and I just was not a fan. But
Did you play
Nova
with-
Roma,
Did you play with
what's
all-
that?
Did you play with all the modules?
No. I actually only played, believe it or not, just the I think it was the base
Base.
game and one expansion. Not any of the expanded stuff, but
I got you.
just one little expansion that was thrown in that was recommended to me at the time. But that game just felt like it was just a mess.
Hodgepodge mechanics.
Yeah, it really was. And but I really like Nova Roma and I really like Rurik. Both of those, and Dice Hospital is actually kind of a classic, as fun as it is for what it is. So yeah, I'm gonna have to lay hands on that. Thanks for pointing that one
I'm
out.
gonna have to I'm gonna have to put my hands on Nova Roma. That's one I've been looking at.
I got trade offers in across BGG, but let me.
What's funny is I felt the same way about Endless Winter, though. I felt like it was kind of a lot of mechanics tossed in, and I didn't grok it. And I still tracked down a copy because I feel like it just has potential if I just give it more of a chance.
I got recommended a certain module to try. I'm gonna try it again with that and see how it goes. So.
And I love the production of that one.
So. Yeah, dude, for sure.
Yeah. Right. Portland Gamecraft here is talking about arcs behind me. Yeah.
Oh, Evan, yeah. I've not heard good things about arcs.
I hope you guys
Jason.
like it.
No.
Did not.
Tim, let me tell you, I'm with you guys on this one. I bought it because, of course, Cole Worley. I mean, the guy can do no wrong. Everybody loves his games, and I mean, I'm iffy on his stuff. I honestly think, in my opinion, I've bought every game he's ever made. I've played every game he's ever made, and I seriously still think at this point he's a one-hit wonder. Root, in my opinion, is still a great game. And it still is a hard lift to get to the table just because of how much asymmetry and how much everybody has to be prepared.
The teach is daunting, yes.
Yes. I literally on paper, Arcs should have been the game made for me. I played it. I was pumped. I bought the whole all-in at BGG in Dallas when I was there. I bought the whole thing, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. And I started hearing about it, and I was like, "Oh, this game is for me." And everybody who played it said, "Jason, this game was literally designed for you." I get it to the table. My expectations are up here. I go in and I had one of the worst experiences playing this game that I have had in ages. I was so unbelievably disappointed. I felt like I had no player agency. I felt like I did not. I think some of it truly was just exceptionally bad luck for a first play. But still, if that is even the possibility and the potential that you can have from the game, then I'm not on board. I'm not going to waste my time. I've got so many other games, Yeah.
So you spend 12 hours playing it multiple times. Before you really developed an actual opinion of it, because we got in trouble for not doing that.
Well, and that's the thing is, I have a rule. I do have a rule. I am not. I will not play a game just once and make an opinion. Because, by the way, Revive earlier, top 5, right? I hated that game the very first time I played it, and then I had to go back to it. It took a long time. I actually went back to it, and now I love the game. And so again, just like you're saying. You cannot, particularly with these games that are just so complicated, you cannot make a determination just after one play. You can give your initial thoughts like, anybody can, but you cannot just decide whether you like a game or not. So yeah, absolutely. You don't want to just do something once and then toss it. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think yes and no with that a little bit, because I think that it's reasonable also if you played Arcs one time, and you're like, this game sucks, I never want to play it again, and you trade it or sell it, I think that's totally fine, and you're totally validated. And if you had the time, the energy, and the interest and the drive to play it 2, 3, 4 more times, you're like, no, this game's still garbage. Well, now the question is, have you wasted your time because you could have been playing better games that you like?
That's a good point.
And I only say that because the time investment in a game like Arcs is not the same as a time investment in a 1 hour game. You know what I mean? It's one thing if the game's relatively short and you're like, first time, not really sure. I'll give it another shot. Let's re-rack and go again. But when that game is sort of like an arduous experience.
You got a point.
I'm saying I think that there's room for both. I think you're justified. In both. But I will never say no. How dare you play your game extra times and make sure you didn't like it before you got rid of it? Are you an idiot? No, that's a dumb thing to say.
Right.
But I would say you're totally validated if you're like I hated it. But.
Well, you're validated because you're amongst us. Me and Bob, we were not a fan of ARCs for very similar reasons. And we played it twice. I had some bad experiences playing that game. That just
So let me ask you though, because this is actually to me, this is a very, very valid point. You guys obviously had a bad experience. The world outside of our four sitting here at this table right now, everybody else seems to have loved this game. But here's the thing: my experience, and you guys tell me if you had similar ones. My cards that I had, and I know I will recognize that there are ways that you can do other things if you don't have the right cards. Okay, but the goals. The actual scoring goals in each of the rounds, I literally did not have the cards that matched the scoring goals. And it was like, I chalked it up after that game. I just chalked it up. This was, I think it's 4 rounds. I can't remember now. It's like 4 or 5 rounds. And the thing is like, I only had the cards that would allow me to score in the last round. Never had a matching card. I could not even take an action to gain points in any of the prior rounds. And I'm like, how is this a game? This is like ridiculous. Why am I sitting here and I literally cannot even take an action that would allow me to score points? And that was my initial experience. Did you guys experience anything even similar to that, or how did you feel?
Yeah, like not even just related to points so much that it was. I have played way too many card games, and then of course it happened when I'm trying to play ARCs both times. It's like there's hands that go out, and it's like I'm too suited. It's like, okay, maybe I can play a card face down to match what somebody might lead to take that action, or if I'm fortunate enough to have that planet, maybe I can trade a resource in unless somebody else takes that planet from me. But just that being so limited to where I can't do the action I want to do because I'm too suited. So basically, I got to wait for somebody else to take that action. It's just like, okay, I get being limited, but come on, I can't move until it's just.
I like luck in games, but you have to mitigate it a little bit, right? You've got to give players some control,
right?
You've got to I think Jason used it earlier. You have to use some. You have to have some agency,
Absolutely.
You can still get hosed by a bad roll, and that's fine because that's the drama of the game.
Absolutely.
But if you don't have any sort of mitigation built in there, that's kind of rough.
Yep. I completely agree.
To your point, Tim, I get frustrated when like 95% of a game is based on your ability to strategize, but the other 5% is scoring, and that's random. That can frustrate the hell out of me.
Sure.
And that leads to what you talked about, Jason, where you feel like you don't have agency in how well you scored. You may be doing cool things, but if you're not scoring points, you're not competitive when the game's over. And then to Bob's point is, if you don't have the right cards, you can't choose the actions, you can't score points. And then there's sometimes where other players can wipe out your ships or like kidnap your things that go out on the cards and influence them. If too many of those get captured, your number of actions is even more limited because you can't even. There's less actions you can perform.
Happened to me.
So it's also very punishing on top of having luck-driven scoring, and I think that combination can be really brutal and lead to a lot of feel-bad moments.
I agree. You just better have a hell of a catch-up mechanic if that's the case, right?
It's
like where you empower the last place person because you punish people for becoming too powerful too quickly, right? I mean, there's ways around things.
Yeah. So like you have to draw an extra card, or say like any card that you could play any card face down to take any action instead of only being able to copy the first action led. Make it so I can play a card face down and take any one action that I want to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Giving up the right to everything else in that trick. Just to trash off. Just let me move my ship. I just want to move my ship.
Yep.
That's all I want to do. Yeah.
Josh was one of our guests a few weeks ago, and here we are bagging on ARCs when he
did he like ARCs?
Apparently,
I'm pretty sure
sounds like it.
Josh likes to do the spicy list, so he gets out. He pops in, and we get all negative all of a sudden. It's like his evil influence is permeated into the.
I love his get good, by the way.
Just shit talking right away.
Yep, clearly, I need to get good.
Cyber Bruno, just I guess he was asking about the list. Is it purely board games, not including skirmish war games? So if by skirmish war games you mean like 40K and things like that, I have not included anything like that.
I didn't either.
Basically just
if it takes a tape measure to play. I mean, that's not I love those games. Don't get me wrong.
I was going to say, come on, Bob.
But what?
I was just going to say, come on, man. Don't talk trash about that. I love it.
No,
look at this. Look at this crew we got joining us. We got Matthew Ryan and Eamon Anderson in the house too. What did we do to deserve their appearance?
So Matt Ryan from Envy Born Games, which I've got my fanny pack hanging right there. Anyways, he publishes these very small box games, right? Like that's his shtick. And so Cysmic.
Oh yeah. Small box. Yeah,
small
absolutely.
Box.
Yeah.
It's
just
really
slightly bigger than a matchbox. Yeah.
It might weigh 27 pounds, but it's
yeah, it's a piece of lead this big. Yeah.
It's got some Time Lord technology going on in there.
That's right. It's bigger on the inside.
I think he's working on miniatures that would hold one of the boxes of his entire game.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right.
No doubt.
Yeah.
One of Matt's games could fit in the space shuttle.
Fantastic. I love it.
We will not stop with that. I apologize.
I love it.
Hey,
but
he's a Texas native too.
Oh yeah, Matt is
native, but he lives there now.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, he's down in Texas. Are you in Texas, Jason?
I am. Yeah. I'm in Texas as well. Just about 2 hours east of Houston, over near the Louisiana border.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. Hurricane Alley.
Oh yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Whose turn is it now? Who is we just got on that Arcs.
Arcs always brings out great tangents, and I won't avoid them because we always get a response.
Tangent? Is that what you're trying to say?
That's right.
I just wish I had popcorn ready. So when I got these guys, I haven't even played Arcs, and but I have no desire after hearing there's a lot of times where there'll be like a game where it's like, I kind of want to try it for myself, and see, but like hearing them talk about it. And again, the amount of time you would have to invest in the game to then be that miserable for many bad turns just sounds awful.
It's a great game, Tim. It's a great game. Go ahead and play it. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, you got one for sale, right?
Exactly. In fact, here, I've got one for you.
Free shipping to Indiana only.
Yeah. Right. I bought another bridge in Brooklyn. Damn it.
Fantastic.
All right. So we're going on to number 3 then, I guess.
Arcs is always spicy. Yes, we are.
Real quick, before you get started, Bob, for those joining us now in progress, this is our top 5 things we hate about Arcs list.
Trick taking game.
We're gonna do that. I got a list. You can only my top 5. Come on.
I've dug into my honorable mentions already. Exactly.
So my number 3. I love
another Texas native.
Huh?
Oh yeah, look at that! Smash that thumbs up button. James is delivering his Kickstarter expansion right now, and some people I guess still need to get the base game, but I already had the base game. I backed it. I'm a good friend.
Ooh, the Brew Geek. That's Mike's kind of geek right there.
Yeah, man. Thanks for that, man. I appreciate it. Wow, all in. I love it.
Fantastic. That's very cool.
Right. But I do love me a good tech tree, and this game is Tech Tree the Game.
Nice. Beyond the Sun.
Beyond the Sun is fantastic. Build your tech tree how you want, and you have these little ships. You're leveling them up. You're taking planets and then colonizing them. I know, like Mike says, he kind of gets tired of this because I think he's played a lot on BGG without me. So I need to play it more. I love it. I haven't got a chance to play much of the expansion. You got your little base. You're doing that kind of engine building by feeding the little things up top. And it's a good time.
Nice.
That's awesome. I really enjoyed it when I played it. I need to play it more, honestly, but yeah.
I like this one. I will say after several plays on BGA, I feel like they need more text because it starts to feel a little samey after a while. They did put out an expansion, and I don't know if it was a little too late or if it doesn't have enough new text. It's got really great concepts, and it's nothing like any other game out there. But like after a few plays, I'm like, this kind of feels like I'm doing the same stuff.
See, Jason, don't play a game so many times. Just play it once or twice.
Right.
Right. That's it.
Play games once or twice.
You don't want it to get boring.
Right. Every game is a legacy game. You play it and you throw it away. You play it, you throw it away.
Destroy it.
It's kindling now. So
don't trade it. Don't resell it. Just stomp the hell out of that box and throw it away.
I do like Beyond the Sun, by the way.
Yeah, it is good. I still gave it an 8 after a couple real life plays. So,
right on.
I just suck at it.
I liked that game quite a bit. Man, okay, so many to choose from. I don't want to. I'm trying not to step on other people's, or at least these guys' lists.
I got plenty of honorables.
Much as possible, but I'm gonna go to one that's actually in space. I was trying to kind of dip, dodge, dive, duck, and dodge.
Yeah, you know, come on, join me, Tim.
But I'm gonna go with wrench. I'm gonna go. Yeah. Well, if you can dodge an asteroid, then you can play Galaxy Trucker. I love this game. A lot of Travadals, Galaxy Trucker. This game is nuts. It's bananas. It is make the best plan you can as fast as you can, and then watch it all just fall apart immediately. You're trying to build these ships, and you need to have the right connectors and blah 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 blah. You need guns, you need shields, you need cargo pods, you need everything. And guess what? You can't put everything on this ship. And so what's going to happen is then you are racing basically through space to get to your destination. And as you hit these spots, you draw cards, and it could be pirates, it could be maybe it's just like a derelict ship. You're going to go scoop up some stuff. And the way that there's just all different kinds of strategies you can do with this game. The app, there's a really good app for it where you could just play it on an app, and that's fun. I enjoy playing this in person.
The app's fantastic, Tim. Good
call. Yeah. And I just love the hell out of this game. It's an older game. It's not perfect. You can't really metagame this game. You just kind of, you plan for the absolute worst, and then worse than that is going to happen to you. And if you could just skid across the finish line in your cockpit, if you just did a little bit better than everybody else, you win. I love this game. It's super fun.
Haven't played it.
Oh, it's good stuff. It's a classic.
Yeah, it's goofy fun.
I don't think I've actually played it.
Yeah, it's goofy fun. Don't take it too seriously. Just have a good time.
Yep.
I still haven't played the physical copy, which is crazy, but I got a ton of plays on that app, which is really, really good.
Same, Mike. Same. Well, the last time I played a physical copy of this, I think it was Dan or Spencer took an asteroid to the middle of their ship, and the whole back end of it just broke off, and we all just cackled for like 2 minutes.
Fantastic.
I was like in tears because we were like, okay, so anywhere but here and he'll be fine. And that's exactly where it hit, and it wrecked everything. It was so good. It was so good.
Fantastic.
Slap it on there and cross your fingers.
That's it, baby. That's it. Don't even look. Just close your eyes. It'll be fine.
That is amazing.
Yeah, super fun. I just love that kind of chaos, and again, it's a fast game, right? So if everything goes to hell, who cares? You can play again,
right?
But
so I'll jump into my my number 3 here. This one's kind of an older game. It's also one that I don't think a lot of people have played, and it is very much a bidding and market kind of game. It's called Imperial 2030. You guys know this one?
Yes.
Oh,
Mike
Gertz. I love this. Mike doesn't know this one.
I love this game.
So Matt Gertz is the guy who also made Concordia. He also made Antica. He's done amazing designs. He does a lot with rondels. And Imperial 2030 is no different. The Rondel in it is fantastic. It's so easy to teach. But the biggest thing about this game is the table talk, the dealing with other players, because what you're doing is you're buying stock in countries, and you are just trying to get get control of all these countries and get all this money, and the money is points, but you're spending money to invest in these countries, and then you're taking over areas of the board, and there's just so much going on. And it looks at first glance, if somebody was to walk by and see this in action at a game convention, it looks like Risk or Axis and Allies or something. Yeah. It is so far from that. It is a high player interaction negotiation game. And it's about market, like taking advantage of market swings. And you can actually be in charge of like multiple countries, and the player right next to you doesn't have any countries that they're allied with or aligned with in any way. And you're out there making decisions because you've invested all this money in these countries, and there's a war going on, and you're trying to hold on to dirt or ocean, and you're trying to expand your borders and trying to knock out other military units, but you're not a particular country. And I think that's the biggest part of trying to get people on board for the game, because everybody wants to take ownership of the country that they kind of start off with. And it's not about that. It's about literally like playing the board and moving like your alliances and your allegiances from one country to another country. And you go, oh man, Russia's tapped out of this. They're out of this game. I'm going to sell all my stock in Russia. And then you throw all your money in Europe, and Europe gets like hammered by the, North America. And, it's just, man, there's just so much going on. And the biggest part of it is the player interaction and being able to manipulate market values. Mike, you must know this game. Come on, tell me about this game.
Mike apparently knows about it. Now, I want to put a caveat on this though. In 5 years, the sci-fi aspect of this expires.
That is true. That's why
like Blade Runner, right?
We have to get the sci-fi out on the list now.
Yeah, exactly.
What's funny is I've actually only played first edition Imperial, which later got kind of some improvements to become 2030. But yeah, one of my favorite things to do in this game is figure out which player is controlling their country the best and most efficiently. And then when it's my turn to buy stock of that guy's country, because he will lead my stocks to victory.
That's right. Why Mike never invests in my country.
I feel like it's like foreshadowing the game. Figure out who's playing well and save your money to buy the stocks of that country.
That's right. That's right.
I love these games where it's like, I don't just control this country for the one game. I control the country of whom I own the most stock of, and that changes throughout the game, and that player interaction is fantastic.
Absolutely. It reminds me of a bigger scale version. I don't know if you guys know this game, but it reminds me of like just the vibe. It's nothing like it, but it reminds me of a bigger scale version of War of Whispers. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have ever played that, because So War of Whispers, you're not one of the factions. You have an alliance, and you can even change your alliances through the game. Yes. And that's the thing, is what so many people get wrong about War of Whispers is they're like going all in on their number one, allegiance that they start off with. And it's like, no, change your allegiance based on the board state and you will become a winner. And that's exactly the way Imperial 2030 is that you cannot kind of take ownership of something. You have to be flexible, and you have to change your allegiance all the time.
Yes.
The other thing I love about this one, how you said where people walk by and they think it looks like Risk, but really you're putting troops out into battle to control a territory, but right before you take the tax action in the Rondel, you want to kill them off so you don't have to pay taxes on those troops. I love the cutthroat nature of that.
Yep. You're just like hoping that the aircraft carrier sinks, so you don't have to pay the upkeep on it. I mean, you're just like, get rid of all that.
Man, I love that you actually threw War of Whispers into this because we're all big fans of that one. And these guys really like that one.
Huge fan of that game.
And this feels like big boy War of Whispers.
It
and
is.
I've been talking about this one for years, and I've got to get this one played with these two guys. I think they'll love it.
But by the way, speaking of, this is just a really quick side tangent. I love War of Whispers. I absolutely love it. Yeah. They have a campaign that just started yesterday, or I think maybe it was last week actually. But somebody in my Discord pointed it out to me because I didn't know about it. I had chosen, because of the world of tariffs and all that right now, I was like, I'm not backing anything new for a while until all this stuff gets stabilized because of tariffs. And that War of Whispers campaign popped up either Monday or Tuesday of this week. And I looked at that and I was like, oh my God, War of Whispers. There's like a new expansion. Oh God. I went straight to it and I just was like, pledge. I don't even care if I never get it. I got to support it. I want it. I hope to get it, So.
Well, I did see a thing. I think is that a campaign on GameFound? There's somebody that is, there's a game that launched and they are US backers basically can pledge $1 right now. And then we'll have full access once the sort of like they open the pledge manager. Gotcha. So then you've got time to determine the shipping, right? Because you don't want to base it now. They can't tell you what shipping's going to be. You know what I mean?
Sure,
so like
of course.
They kind of like delayed it. Wayne actually in the chat, he posted a really a thing about it in their Discord for their podcast today, and I was like, wow, that's really smart. Like a little bit forward thinking, and because we can only control what we do, we can't control what other assholes do. And so, pardon my French. I don't have strong feelings about it. But yeah, so you can't control what those idiots are doing. So you've got to find a way to make it still make sense. And
absolutely, I've got the deluxe edition. I actually bought the second edition after they did the first, and then I got the expansion for it that they did right after that. And then now that they're doing this new expansion, I mean, it's a great filler game. Yeah, the fifth player. Yeah, I'm all in.
Greyjoys. Oh,
right. exactly. Yeah. So anyway, sorry, I didn't want to derail, but yeah, War of Whispers is huge. It's not sci-fi, so we can't talk about that.
I will talk about War of Whispers whenever anybody wants to. Oh my God.
But if you are seriously a fan of War of Whispers, I really do. And Mike can back me up here, obviously, because he's played it as well. But that Imperial 2030 really is, it gives you a very similar vibe to War of Whispers, but on a grander scale. So if you really do like that.
I got really excited because I saw somebody was selling it on BGG, and then I saw they wanted $85 for it. I was like,
oh yeah. Yeah, I do think it's out of print right now, unfortunately. Yeah. I bought it quite some time ago. So yeah, I don't know if you can find it.
Yeah, I'm vigilant. I'll find a copy, I'm sure.
My one of my first gaming groups just kept busting this game out, and I just grew to appreciate it more and more every time I played it. And so last year, I think, is when I decided to track down a copy of both versions, Imperial and 2030. And I think they were getting hard to find even then. So
right, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're out of print by now for sure.
Yeah.
Great pick. I'm super excited. I don't hear anybody ever talk about that game, so I was pumped to hear that nomination.
I love it.
It's great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. So my number 3 is where players are representing the most powerful brains in the world. Brains nominated due to the overpopulation of Earth to establish the best and most livable underwater areas possible in Vladimir Suchi's Underwater Cities.
I thought this might pop up.
Yeah, this is such a good game. I like how this is tableau building with worker placement, and if you're able to play a card that matches the worker placement place that you go to, you get a benefit out of it. And I just love how 3D that player board gets as you're building it out, and you're putting out these domes that allow you to actually build cities within it. And I like these games where you're just kind of doing more and more and more until you pause and then take an income phase. And the more of this stuff that you've built onto your player board, the more things you're going to gain on your income phase, which makes each round give you the ability to do more and more and more. And it just keeps building as this amazing crescendo towards the end. Really, really love this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really good game.
Yep,
really
it's in my collection as well. Yeah, I enjoy it. It's a little bit of a tough teach. There's a lot going on there.
It's crunchy, yeah.
Yeah, definitely a brain burner. It's not one I can get to the table all that often. I'd have to relearn it myself right now. I've only played it a couple of times, but every time I break it out, I'm always like, oh God, I got to learn this all over again.
Yeah, same. But man, just the impression I got at it, even just one play on this one, I'm huge fan of it for sure.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
All right, Bob, you got to top all that.
I can.
With your number 2.
Well, I know I'm not stepping on at least Mike's list because my number 2 takes place in space again, but it's one of my favorite space games I've played in the last year, Andromeda's Edge.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
it's a good one.
Recall action.
It was on my list.
Nice. Yep.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like, now, my biggest pet peeve about this game is it's one of those games that included sleeves with the pledge, and there's no way all those cards are fitting sleeved inside that thing and not being a mess. Like, it's other than that though, like I loved the game itself. Yeah. The art is fantastic, the minis are fantastic. Like, I was pretty okay with Dwellings. Like, I did enjoy it, but I think this is a much better like implementation of some of those like that kind of gameplay.
I completely agree. When I got this, I absolutely sold my Dwellings immediately. I got rid of it because this was much better implementation of the same mechanics.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, I picked up Dwellings first and really liked what it was doing, but then you play Andromeda's Edge. And one of the most fulfilling things about this game is getting a really good recall engine going. And this game allows that to happen much more frequently.
Yes.
Just the simple fact that you can pay a resource to activate an entire row of your recall cards. Man, you can really get some awesome synergies going with that recall engine.
I agree.
They did a great job with this one.
Yeah.
By the way, fun fact about this game, I had not chosen a manufacturer for Cysmic before this game came out. I received this game because I'd pledged for it. Show some of these images here of these beautiful minis. I got this game in about a week before I was finalizing all the quotes from, I had 22 different manufacturers I was getting quotes from and working with to try to figure out who I was going to work with. And when I got this game in, I was like, oh my God, this game is amazing. And Longpack, as a manufacturer, was on my, kind of in my top 3 to finalize with. When I looked at who made this game, who manufactured it, it was Longpack. And I had been a little hesitant about their particular production values of miniatures in the past. But, lots of people had told me, including West, by the way, lots of people told me that Longpack's miniature production had gone way up in the last couple of years. And I was like, well, I really need to see something. I want to see some of their latest stuff. That popped up on my doorstep. I opened that game up and I was like, oh man, okay. If this is what Longpack is able to produce, I literally closed the box lid on this game, went downstairs to my PC, and I told Longpack, okay, I'm ready. Let's sign a contract. Let's go. You guys have convinced me.
Nice.
So the production value on this, I am hoping to exceed leaps and bounds. But yeah, this game actually, believe it or not, was the deciding factor for me on choosing a manufacturer. So yeah, good going on this for your list. That's a great one, Bob.
Nice. That's impressive.
I get it.
Yeah.
These miniatures are sick.
I love how
beautiful.
You use them to build your buildings, and then they slot inside the buildings so you can know who they belong to. So.
Interactive miniatures with a purpose. Yes, that's meaningful in a game. You don't want to just like a little person walking around. Nobody cares about that anymore.
Put it into an exosuit and then put that exosuit onto a planet.
Exactly. Yes, for sure. That's awesome. Good choice.
Yeah. Good one.
Yeah.
Good one.
All right. Tim,
I was kind of saving this one for you, Bob. I figured it would get talked about, but yeah, big fan. One of my favorites from last year, no question.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Chris.
this will by far be the lightest game on the list. Chris, see you next month at IndieCon. This is the lightest game on my list. It is definitely sci-fi, and I absolutely love this damn thing. And that is Shards of Infinity.
Oh yeah, this is a good one.
Head-to-head deck building, right? You just slam it into other. I haven't played this with more than 2 people. I don't know that I'd ever want to play it at more than 2 people.
That is good.
This game's great. This game's absolutely great. Love it. Always excited to play it. And this game's badass.
I just got my big ultra mega jumbo edition with jalapenos in for that game.
Nice.
I did the whole big, Shards of Infinity thing, Kickstarter that they did. I just got that in a couple of, maybe even a month ago now. But yeah, I love the game.
Hell yeah, that's great. That's great, man. That's great. I love this game. I knew Mike liked it for sure, so I'm glad to hear that, Jason, you like it too. But I mean, this game, the mechanics are very simple, right? It's very straightforward. And you I mean, there's a couple different ways you can win. You can build up that infinity shard all the way. But I mean, you're basically trying to knock the other person's health down, right? I mean, it's a dueling game. It's head to head, it's straight up. And it's very straightforward, but this game is badass. It's really good. The art's great. The gameplay is fun. It's fast. It's everything I want in a deck building game. Like just right there. Bam.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good choice.
I love this
that's
game.
A good one.
I mean, you're either recruiting cards, you're attacking, or you're healing. That's it. Or
that's it.
You can increase your mastery, which gives you that ability for that one-shot kill. But I agree. Play it at 2, 3, and 4. You get a bit too much downtime. It overstays its welcome. It's a fantastic 2-player game.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I could get it to the table more. 2-player is tough for me, but man, I love it. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, I really like it. I really like
lots of games that I love popping up on this list. Good pick, Tim.
You're welcome.
All right, I'll jump into my number 2, the 4th edition, or actually, sorry, not 4th. That would be Twilight Imperium. The 2nd edition of this game is the one that I highly recommend to everybody. It is Eclipse.
Mike.
It's one of my all-time favorites. I believe it or not, I've been into board games most of my life, but Eclipse was, I feel like, probably the first game, and particularly the original one. I have the Second Dawn for the Galaxy, which is one I really recommend for everybody, but I still have my first edition with all the expansions and all the extra stuff and everything. But in my opinion, it's probably the first slightly what I would call like really a deep dive into the hobby, because before that, you had your Dominions and your Lords of Waterdeeps and your Ticket to Rides and your Catans and all these other games, from prior. But it was right around 2010 when Eclipse came out, the first one, and that was a really big leap. I think that was a very complicated game for the time, because it's kind of a Euro Ameritrash hybrid, and there's still a lot of luck, but you've got so much going on. You got the tech, you've got different kinds of ships, you've got the exploration part of it. It is a true 4X experience. And I really prefer this game at 6 players, even though, again, the time can get kind of ridiculous. But I love the game at particularly 5 and 6 player. The original one, the first edition, could actually play up to 9. And I literally have played Eclipse at 9 before. And in fact, I was almost a little sad when the second edition came out and they limited it to 6. And I'm like, limited to 6, come on. So, but anyway, I highly recommend this game to everybody. I still think to this day, even it slightly shows its age from 2010, They did improve it a little bit in the second edition, but it still feels like a game that's probably 15 years old now, and but it still doesn't mean it's a bad game by any means. I love it. I break it out anytime I can. It's one of my favorites. Definitely something that I will never part with. I actually have, like I said, both editions. I'll probably keep both of them forever. So that's my number 2. Sorry,
Tim called me out, and I won't yuck anybody's yum. I only played this once about 2 years ago, so very late into trying it out. I do like 4X games, and a couple things happened to me that made it really tough for me. I had really bad tile exploration luck.
Oh, that is.
And if you're a newer player, it's hard to figure out how to pivot if you're not able to generate the resources that fit your faction's engine. The other thing was I was too stubborn to pull out of fights. I saw losing them, and I'm like, no, I'm here for the long haul. I'm getting toasted. We're going to see this out. And I just got destroyed even more. And that may have been terrible decision making, but like I was just getting killed, and I'm like, I'm just going to see what happens here. But I kind of had some bad luck that made it hard to enjoy my first play, but I don't think it's a bad game.
No, let me tell you, I'm 100% agree that this game can be made or broken by the experience of the exploration tiles. And in my opinion, and coming from a design, finally a designer background, which I can kind of say now, but I would have, if I had put the second edition out, I would have absolutely made it to where you draw 2 and keep 1. And in fact, that's a tournament rule that a lot of people do in convention settings because of that exact part of the game that can ruin it, because you get 1 or 2 bad draws right out of the gate. It's over. I mean, you are out of the game. You are there just now along for the ride, because there is no way that you're going to get your engine built and actually participate in the overall empire. So the thing is I totally get it. The other design choice I would have made in the second edition is to also create all the tiles with some mild asymmetry. Not literally this tile has an insane amount of stuff and this tile has 0. That's this disparity there is just too much for a game of that magnitude. And so I would have dumped all of the tiles that literally gave you either one system or no systems. I would have dumped all of those and then put more tiles in that give you, a bigger variety and just, that way you can pivot and you can move different directions based on what you've got to work with, but not just nothing, and
right.
And of course, there's a slight mitigation in there, like, oh, you don't have to place the tile. Well, yeah, but you don't get that action back. You've wasted the action. So I completely get it. I totally get it. And I would defend it only on that account, is that I do think that the game, man, if that luck of tile exploration is not mitigated across the board and distributed across all players, one player can truly end up just sitting there for 4 hours staring at the walls, because you're going to be out of it. And I've seen it in games before. Yeah. So yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
That is kind of how I felt, but I'd play it again. But yeah, it's if you don't draw those planets that generate that resource that get your engine firing, it's really tough.
Yeah, absolutely. I get it.
But yeah, I do want to try it again though, at least. But
I definitely would want to implement. I haven't played it, but I would definitely. It's like a game you're playing for that long, where you're listening to what you guys are saying. I would want to implement that. Draw 2, choose 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a really easy and
easy kind of
simple
fix to it. Yeah,
very simple fix, and it really does solve a whole lot. I highly recommend it.
Without changing the game. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
All right, what you got, Mike?
Eclipse second edition. Oh wait, just kidding.
No, first edition. All right, continuing on with no space themes, just because it made it a little bit more choosy through here. When Elsa von Frühlingsfeld presented her invention to King Frederick Augustus II of Saxony, people thought it was trickery. She used a recently isolated element, uranium, to heat up a jar of water and use the resulting steam to power an engine that kept the uranium active via a process she called atomization. Her device, the nucleum, ushered in a new area of energy. That's right. I'm talking about the Archie and Luciani co-design nucleum.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, this is one of the better like route building, engine building games I've played ever, let alone in the last few years. I thought this game was fantastic. There's a lot of people that want to make these comparisons to Brass based on how it looks, and because you're building routes, they're nothing alike at all. Building routes is it, but you're basically using these action selection tiles at the top of your board to choose your action. You slot them in the top of your board, but they give you 2 actions on your turn. And what's interesting is you can use these action tiles to slot up here and put into your board. But one of the actions is you can buy more action tiles that are even better than the ones that you have. So you're constantly getting better actions as the game goes. But that's not where that stops. You can take those same action tokens and you can flip them over. That's got the railroad symbol on it, and that's what you build your routes with. So you're actually sacrificing action tiles to build your routes. And if the ends of the routes match another player's routes they've already built, you get an additional action out of them. There's so much goodness to the game. There's a lot of satisfying engine building. The income phase feels great. I don't think Bob put this one on his list. So if you want to chime in, feel free. But I love this game, and the more I play it, the more it grows on me.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Like the different like text that you can get on the side to unlock. You build those fans and to power up the because they all can use coal, but then once you put that little block in there, then you can start to use like the uranium. You get a lot more juice out of that, and like powering up your city and triggering a whole bunch of points, and it's just it's really good. It's really satisfying. Like in trying to put the right tiles and like the bonus ones to make them worth more points, because some of those will have like, oh, each building in this whole connection network, I think it's what it's called, is going to get you points, whether they're your buildings or other people's buildings. And anything that I can score points off of other people's stuff, I'm in.
Yeah.
You lazy bastard. Working on letting all the other people do the work.
It's called,
I started by kind of going through like my played games and figuring out which ones were sci-fi, but I was like, no, these aren't getting the results I wanted. So then I just selected science fiction on BGG, and I'm like, oh yeah, nucleum counts. And I was super happy to stick this one in
sci-fi boundary there, but yeah.
I mean, nucleum is not a real.
You discover nuclear power in a different way.
It's so good, though. I freaking love this game. We got to try one of those expansions.
I taught this to my niece. I taught this to Andrew from the chats. Yeah, it's a good game.
I do like it.
How you can't just keep recalling to get stuff. The more actions you take, the stronger your recall action gets. Yeah, like right there. Like yeah.
You have to get your.
Even though his little gray bars are all the way at the end, if he recalls now, he's not getting all of that bonus. You're only getting bonuses up to where that last tile is placed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think it's a little bit of a tough teach. There's much harder ones out there, but the iconography I felt like at the time, if I recall, was a little rough.
No,
but
really, because I thought it made a lot of sense.
Really? Okay. I could be misremembering. I've only played this one a couple of times, and it's been a little while. Gotcha. Okay. And I can't remember, but I couldn't remember if the iconography on this one was a little tough. I did like building the little structures and stuff. I was very pleased.
Yeah, the buildings and stuff. It still might be a little abstract, maybe not quite as you look at like Lacerda O'Toole. Like O'Toole does a really good job with his icons, and like what you see like kind of makes sense. I mean, yeah, you're kind of interpreting the language of it, but once you have it down, it's in the right spot. So once you see it, look at that symbol, you know what that symbol means because you have your nice little cheat sheet, and you're good to go.
Gotcha. Yeah.
The one that can trip me up sometimes is the action where you're actually delivering the nucleum and you're using those like power plants and everything, and you got to have the route built, and how much does that score, and what do you need to accomplish that? That's the one thing that tricks me up. But yeah, very satisfying game though.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right.
It's
Don't blow it, Bob.
Number one.
So I said at the beginning that a lot of these were ones I really want to play. I haven't played this game in a long time. I played it a few times when it first came out a couple of years ago. But it's super unique, but it's still kind of a basic worker placement game. Galaxy Hunters has a fantastic expansion that like you take your dude and your mech and you mesh them together, and you're kind of just putting this big mech out on each planet, and you're like, doing these actions and hunting things, and it's just a lot of fun. I love how each pilot is different, and then the mechs are different, and the way they connect is, you're just building that whole contraption, and then that's your worker, and you're sending it out to do stuff. I mean, it's awesome, and I want to play it again. It's been way too long.
I have this game and I have not played it yet.
Oh,
now you're making me want to go play it right now.
Yeah, where did it go? Oh, it's right behind me.
This
you have to have the new ways to hunt. I think that adds like some of the asymmetrical bits to it. So if you're going to play, make sure you add that in. So there's the planets, and as you go to those different planets with your mechs, you're going to get to do the little different actions and whatnot. And because it's basically just a worker placement, but your workers are friggin' mechs with cool ass abilities on.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah, I've heard good things about this.
Yeah, you've dropped this one on a couple lists, Bob, and every time you talk about it, I get more intrigued.
Yep.
This is a game that's hard to come by. I think I got this at a like a swap meet kind of thing, one of the game bazaars where I swapped out a bunch of games.
Yeah.
It's pretty tough to. I don't even know if it's in print anymore, right?
It's not IDW Games, RIP.
Oh yeah, that's why.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Miniature Market has one copy left. There is a new copy, only 25. That's only $25 on BGG though. So
Galaxy Hunters.
Nice.
I do feel like it needs like an 80s cartoon theme,
It
does.
Right.
Real about like zooming in on the characters as they take their
like some really like awesome guitar riffs as you just
but that's my number one. It's been a long time since I played it. It's been a long time since I've talked about it. And
it's a great cover. Oh man, that's good.
It is. Yeah, that's a good cover. It is. All right, my number one. This was really tough because there's so many amazing sci-fi games, right? We talked about legacy games, and so like a really good legacy game is one where you're like breaking down stuff as you're going through it, right? And you're like, oh, you're struggling with that. And those choices, and knowing that like, well, that's gone now. There's no going back now. Okay, well, we did that. Also, I like games that are well made, and I'm gonna just call out like Terraforming Mars for not being well made because well,
that's why we destroyed it, so you can play Seismic.
Famously, the components are really bad. But you can't check Tim Panders off your bingo card if I don't pander. So I'm going to put Cysmic as my number one.
Oh, my God.
Let's go.
Fantastic.
Honestly, Jason, the saddest thing I had to do last year was give that game back to West because I wanted to play it some more.
Fantastic.
I had to give him that big old crate. But no, I mean, we talked about it a lot earlier, and I genuinely mean this. Like the way those action selection works, the table presence, the way that the board crumbles underneath you as you go. I haven't played anything like it. It was awesome. It was really cool.
That's awesome.
And just an absolute like killer of a table presence, right? I mean, we played this with West. We played 4 or 5 players when we played it. It was a 4.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Us 3 in West.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a really good time. I know we had some different, your mileage may vary based on some of your player powers and your experiences.
Sure.
But I didn't have the same struggles that the other guys did, because I had a card that let me basically
ignored the ground falling out beneath you. You're like, if it did, you got to move to another location. Well, we're all
gotcha. That's the relic where all your units have early warning. So you never have to worry. Yeah.
So my guys were just like this while everybody else was just going.
And my problem was I was sitting next to Wes, so he wasn't falling for any of my shenanigans. And then he was pulling shenanigans on me with his prior knowledge. So yeah, that was rough.
But the game, I do feel like the game came pretty close at the end. It felt pretty tight. It was sort of it definitely felt like a really big race at the very end. Like everybody was very close, and West got to his ship to launch first, despite our best efforts.
Yeah,
I want to try to collapse the whole planet so nobody could have launched. But
right. But
fantastic.
But no, man, this was super fun. It was. Yeah, it's an experience. This is a game where I think that if you're gonna be okay, you have to be okay with stuff going wrong. You have to be in it for the player interaction, because there's a lot of player interaction.
A lot.
And just this is one of those games where I just say you kind of sit back and enjoy the ride. You know what I mean? Like just grab on.
Yep.
And do your best. Because it's going to be an experience, and you're not going to be able to optimize that plan perfectly, because it's going to go to shit real fast.
That's right. Yep. That is what I tell people all the time, is that it's not a game for planners. It's a game for adapters. Yes. You have to change constantly to adapt to what's going on. The best laid plans do not rely on them.
Yeah, and I like that though, because there are games that can feel solvable,
right.
And I don't want a game that's solvable,
Well, and Mike brought that up with Beyond the Sun, right? I mean, you were talking about it starts to feel samey over time, and that was something that there was so many check boxes that I was trying to do with this particular design, is that I wanted to make sure the game always felt fresh. I wanted to make sure that there were memories from every game. I wanted, like you say, it's an experience. Mm-hmm. It's not just a game. This is something where it almost borders on like the kind of vibes and everything you get from like almost like a party game. But at the same time, you got all the player agency and the strategic depth and the tactical decisions that you're making constantly. So there were just so many things that I was trying to go for. And I feel like, from all the feedback I've gotten, that seems to have landed. It seems like a lot of people feel the same way as you, that particularly the action selection is such a huge thing that people love about it. So yeah, I really appreciate that. That's great.
Honestly, man. I mean, like 2 nitpicks. 1, not enough factions to play as. Couldn't get to 30. Would you fall asleep?
Yeah,
right. I know. Right.
And 2, like, how about like some table presence?
Yeah.
Right. I'm working on it. I'll build the production a little better next time.
Bob and I like games with miniatures. Can you put some miniatures in the damn game, please?
This is just the standard edition. The next one's going to be deluxeified, so I'll try to do better.
God, the deluxeified edition is terrifying.
That's right. Yeah, there's a single FedEx truck is the delivery for each one. So
that's it, man. The deluxeified edition better come with divorce papers for me, because my wife would be like, "What are you trying to do here?"
It comes with its own calyx. It comes from IKEA. You build that, and you put the game boxes in. Yeah,
that's it. And it's steel reinforced, just to hold all the weight, all metal. Pablo is right ahead of me. Nice.
Yeah, exactly. All metal. That's right. Yeah, I'm working on it.
I liked that even though it's epic in scale and how it looks and plays, but it really wasn't that hard to learn. Like, there's a lot of concepts to explain, but none of them are terribly complicated at all. It wasn't that bad of a teach.
I feel like you take a few turns and you get the hang of it, and you can.
That's what I tell everybody. By third time you burn a card, by that third time, it's like everything starts clicking and you start realizing, oh yeah, I got it, but the first 2 turns, everybody is just like, I don't know what to do, but you're kind of exploring the game engine, initially. And by usually the third turn is when it clicks with everybody. I taught the game, to your point, Mike, I taught the game to a group of teachers early on, right before the Kickstarter or right before the Game Found campaign. And these teachers, it was a 6-player game. All of them are high school teachers, and one of them had only ever played Uno. And
welcome to board games.
And then another one had only ever played, I think, Ticket to Ride. And then there was another one that had only played Hasbro games. Now, the 3 other ones had played a little bit more, some light hobby games, gateway kind of games. But believe it or not, I taught that whole group how to play. And it was about 3 turns in. And every one of them was like, oh, I get it. Okay, I can plan this, and I can do this, and I can do this. And then this icon matches on here. So if I do that on this, they had it. It was so crazy to watch people who had never played a game of that scale and that magnitude. And it's just like they were in it, and they weren't even like sci-fi people or anything like that. They just started getting it. And that's the kind of experiences that I love, because I taught a 9-year-old at a board game convention here in Texas. This girl just walked up, had never, and to be fair, she's played some other games, but again, a 9-year-old, I would never have expected a 9-year-old to pick up Cysmic. She had it and was like near winning the game against a bunch of grown adults at the table, and they were not cutting her slack, and she had learned the game. And when I went back to that convention the following year, the same girl sought me out and came over to my table and was like, okay, I'm ready. And she pulls a chair out and she's like, all right, I'm ready to play. I remember everything from last year. And I was just like, oh my God. So yeah, isn't that amazing? Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
That's cool. I cannot wait to hear stories from whenever it gets delivered. So yeah, right? I appreciate it. That's fantastic.
Yeah, this was top 5 worst sci-fi games, right?
Yeah. Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Fantastic.
Oh, all right, man. Yeah. What's your number 1? Let's hit
my number 1. My number 1 is actually a very, very thematic game. And in fact, it was one of the first Kickstarters I ever did. It is Nemesis. I did the original Nemesis. Yes. And let me tell you, my favorite movie, well, God, that's so hard. One of my favorite movies of all time is James Cameron's Aliens. And it is so quotable. It's so good beginning to end. And the world building and the universe building inside that movie is utterly amazing. And honestly, I find the first Alien movie to be nearly unwatchable. There's great moments from it, but Aliens is so amazing. And when I saw Nemesis advertised, I had never backed a board game in crowdfunding at that point. I was like, oh, this is crazy. Who does that? Little did I know later I'd be the one, putting one out. But but I just was like, this game doesn't look like anything else on the market. This is just unbelievable. So I took a chance and I made a Kickstarter account, and I actually backed Nemesis. And I was just like, okay, I want to see what this is about. And sure enough, when it came in, I was just blown away by how much theme and how much integration, and there's interesting mechanics here too, that you don't see in any other game. The idea of what a resource on a room, and you turn that room like a dial to tick down the resources as people search the rooms. The idea too, how the aliens pop out and go back in, and then the noise mechanic. So many good ideas. And I'll be the first to say that the game, to your point earlier, Mike, the game has its flaws. There are plenty of people that do not like this game. And, there is, you have that scenario where somebody could die in the game and they're just out of the game. And there's 3-4 other people at the table who are still playing, and they just either had some bad luck or, maybe they had somebody else who had a vendetta, their character had a vendetta at the table that they were supposed to kill them. There's things like that. And, you can get some bad card draws. The game is not flawless, but when this game sings, it is one of the best experiences that you can have on a board game table, in my opinion. I love the theme and the depth and the integration of the mechanics into the theme, and of course the table presence. I mean,
it's sick.
I mean, it's beautiful. Yeah,
it's good.
So
Awaken Realms, right? Awaken Realms, they spare no expense, right?
Absolutely.
Even though you saw Awaken Realms and you're like, hold my beer.
Well, I tried to actually reached out to Awaken Realms whenever I wanted to publish Cysmic before I thought about doing self-publishing. And they only do internal stuff. I could not get them to give me the time of day. So and that was my production values. That's what I wanted, was Awaken Realms level of production. And so I'm hoping I give them a run for their money with Cysmic. So we'll see.
I've had go on, Bob. Go on.
I was gonna say I do have like some of the issues like you're saying with some of the rules. It's not perfect that way, but what you said, it is right. Where there's a story. Like it always comes with a tale. Like once you're done playing this game, you're talking about it. Like what happened in this epic thing. There's this part I always like to talk about where I have this egg and I need the dude to open the door. So it's like, toss me the whip, I'll give you the idol, and to be able to walk away with stories like that is just awesome.
Yeah, I always have stories after this.
Yeah, and I've had varying experiences with this. Like I've had really fun games of this, and I've had really drawn out, agonizing games of this.
I believe it.
I think the rule book personally is kind of tough. Once you know how to play it, it's not too bad. But trying to like refresh yourself out of the rule book can be tough. Bob and I had that experience.
Yeah.
And then we missed something that made the game run really long. I forgot what it was, Bob, but there was a rule we missed, and like the game that we played that drug on and on and on should have ended a lot earlier.
Julius?
Yeah. There was a rule we missed. And the other thing, the other rule that I just hate, the one rule that I genuinely dislike is the variable alien health. So like the alien pops out, you can hit it, but then it goes away. And now it's like, well, now that alien, I guess technically it could be a different alien, that pops out next time out of the bed to attack you.
Yeah.
But it's really tough because it's really hard to kill those aliens. And
yes,
like, I shot it a bunch. It's down to like 1. It went away. Came back and out at 7.
Yeah. Like, well,
that's true.
We're screwed. And this is not a game where you are really trying to fight the aliens, right? That is the opposite of what you're trying to do.
That's always the point. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is one of the things is the aliens are distractions and obstacles that you're just trying to get around them. The goal is still the goal, and sometimes I think people do lose sight of that, and they want to fight the alien just because that's like the
they want to play aliens,
right? Exactly, yeah. And so that's what you want to do is you want to beat up the alien, but in reality you want to just get away, and go focus on your mission at hand. And so
close the room with somebody else,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, draw the alien to your person that you're trying to get killed. So, but yeah, there's always stories to tell. I have plenty of people in my game group that I can literally walk up to them. We can not have any conversation, and I can just be like, "Dude, open the door," and then they know exactly what I'm talking about. Or like, why the hell did you turn the light off? And then they know again, we're referencing these experiences and these memories we have just from Nemesis on the table. And so, and again, I've had bad games too with Nemesis, but the good ones really, in my opinion, outweigh the bad ones.
That's totally fair. And again, the components are great. It is also based on a IP that I love, right? Or influenced by. Unlike you, I love the first Alien movie quite a bit. But Alien and Aliens are like two different genres of movie that share a universe, right? You know what I mean? Like
absolutely, yeah.
Because Alien is this slow.
The first one's sci-fi horror, yeah.
Sci-fi horror, and Aliens is straight up a badass action horror.
Sci-fi action,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of the best action movies, right? I mean, it's James
ever
Cameron's
made
prime, right?
Yep. Ever made, yeah.
Aliens and Terminator 2, the man can make a sequel, right?
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, I feel like I had a better time with Lockdown when we played. Lockdown's the sequel, right?
Yes, that's right. The second one, yeah.
I thought Lockdown was really cool with the way you manipulate the elevator and you're lighting
and turning
up
the lights on and off, yeah, with the generators, and that's my second reference that I was saying earlier. Yeah, it's like why'd you turn the lights off?
I thought that Lockdown provided some really, really interesting, stressful mechanics.
Yes,
but I mean, I think that it's one of those things where there's room for both versions of the game.
Absolutely.
In your collection, because it's like, well, what vibe are you going for? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And of course, Retaliation is supposed to be shipping almost any time. Now, again, with the way the world is, God knows. But Retaliation is meant to be much more like Aliens, I believe, much more like James Cameron, because the board is being flooded with miniatures, almost along the lines of like Zombicide or something. Right. So I'm really looking forward to Retaliation, which I think is going to cause kind of another vibe. It's like, do you want to play the original Alien movie? Do you want to kind of play this weird, like almost like Alien 3, which is kind of what I call Lockdown?
Yeah.
Because you're kind of now on a planet in a base and the lights are on and off and stuff like that.
Right.
And or when this third one comes out, and I haven't played it yet, but do you want to play Aliens, with the James Cameron style? So I'm really curious to see what they do with the third one. So
I should look closer at it.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be really interesting to see. I'm excited. I love it when IP adjacent games come out.
Yes.
There was a game, I will say it now because I know 100% it's not going to be on Mike's list, but the old Space Hulk Games Workshop game was awesome, right? And the Tyranids are just like flooding in, right? And you're just, and you're trying to get to the objectives and do those things.
Space Hulk was super downstairs. Cool. It makes that same noise.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's how you know it's good.
Yeah.
Those don't jam.
They don't.
Right. Nice.
Right on, man. Good pick, though. Really good pick.
Awesome. All right, Mike, what's your number one?
This has been a favorite game of mine for a long time. Tons of plays for this one, and I just wasn't going to deny.
Is it your favorite time travel game, Mike?
No, it is not. I think me and Bob both avoided Anachrony.
Oh, you head faked.
Oh, I had Anachrony on my honorable mentions.
That's my number one game.
Absolutely great game.
Bob and I both have it as our number one all-time game. We talk about it so much, we try not to talk about it.
I have the Infinity Box.
But it's amazing. But right up there is, it is a time of unrest in 1920s Europa. The ashes from the First Great War still darken the snow. The capitalistic city known simply as the Factory, which fueled the war with heavily armored mechs, has closed its doors, drawing the attention of nearby countries in Stonemeyer's Scythe. I'm still a big fan of this game. I've played through the Rise of Fenris campaign. I've played this a bunch, as you can see, with those 24 plays there. And, I still enjoy this one tremendously. I like how this one is, and I can get the critique, and there's these big mechs, and you expect a war game, and really, it's the threat of war that drives this game, and the fact that you can run your engine quietly over in the corner while other people are battling and win this game, which makes it more interesting to me. It's an option, not the path to victory. But I just love the art and the world building done here, and the fact that this whole game was based off of Jamie Stegmaier seeing Jacob Rosalski's art and saying, I want to build a game out of this. And so he did, and it became one of my all-time favorites. So I couldn't leave Scythe out of this list.
It's a classic. I think it is. I think it's still today worth all the hype. There's a reason it's in the top, 20 now still on BGG. It's huge. And I've got more plays of it than many other games that I own. And there's a reason for it. Yeah. I actually, by the way, if you haven't ever, I really do recommend playing it at 7 players. If you've never played it at 7, it is fantastic at 7. it plays actually quite well, believe it or not.
The more the merrier, for sure. The one trick I have with this one is I don't necessarily like playing the expansion factions. The ones that leave things on the board are a lot harder to use. And so maybe that's just a balancing mechanic. If you're a much more experienced player or you're teaching newer players, use those. Let the other people use Polania, the one that allows you to use combat cards as a wild, or let somebody else use Rustfiat, which allows you to race to the middle of the factory really quickly. And I'm not one of those that's mathed out the ultimate path to victory. In fact, my favorite way to play this is use the modular board so that somebody sitting at the table hasn't already mathed out the number of actions it takes them to get to the factory. That is the way to play this game.
I agree.
But there's still so much wonderful gameplay in this.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I need to actually get this back on the table because I absolutely loved this game when it first came out. And then I had some plays where I just got really soured on it. And I think it was people I was playing it with, like mid-maxers, you know, and it's like, look, I'm not trying, like, I want to play a game and I want to kind of like feel it out. I want to, you know, I want to explore mechanics, right? Try things out and do
pull
stuff.
Levers.
And when I'm doing that and other people are just like,
they've already, they've mathed it out. Yeah. They just not fun, right?
Yeah. It's not fun because their game's on rails. And for me to even be competitive, I've got to get on those rails. And I'm not trying to be, I don't want to play a game on rails. And I know that I like, and there's a reason I've never gotten rid of my copy of Scythe is I also know that I do have a love for this game. It's that I've just kind of soured on because of some bad experiences, but that doesn't, I won't ever get rid of it. I've got the original Kickstarter, you know, I was in, and genuinely loved it.
I'll also throw in there that some of the best metal coins out there.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Still to this day.
I love the 3s, 1 3s, 5s, 10s. Like that's just the best way to go. So.
But I will tell you, by the way, as a budding publisher, I will say that this game literally is to blame for the current state of the production values of the board game industry and all the issues that we are facing with it. I mean, every single game that comes out had to one up this one to get any notoriety. And then, of course, every other game that came out had to one up those. And that's why we're in the situation we're in, is because
it started the arms race, right?
It did. It really did. I mean, prior to Scythe, games were still, for the most part, wooden tokens and you know, cardboard chits. And every once in a while, you might see, you know, a couple of nice miniatures or whatever. But Scythe, particularly the adoptability of it, where people really fell in love with the game, and then you start seeing, like you've got here on the screen, these amazing resource tokens.
They're so good.
And
it's
then,
so
of course,
beautiful.
the metal tokens. And then, of course, the other thing that I blame this game for is when he came out with a box to buy just to get all of your other boxes out and put it all in this one box. People were literally paying $50 on a Kickstarter campaign for an empty box just so they could put all of their stuff together after all the expansions.
Cool box,
it's a great box.
I love that the resources get left on the map and they're basically open for combat. You know, people can come in.
This was one of the
stuff.
Bob, this was one of the first games we played that had dual layer player boards too, right?
Correct.
That's right.
Yep.
That was one
Bob,
of the first ones. Yeah.
Yep.
Bob, to your point too, I felt that the leaving resources on the map was incredibly thematic, and I'm just surprised no other game has leaned on that mechanic. I think it's genius.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And win a battle, and whoop, those resources are mine because you left them where your dead people lie.
Mm-hmm. Love it. But if you beat up too many civilians, you start to lose popularity, which is also very cool.
Oh yeah, I love the penalties of war and stuff like that. This game does so many things that's very cool. Yeah.
You can't just fight innocent workers that can't fight back. That's going to make people hate you and cost you points at the end. It is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Love it.
Good pick, Mike. Good pick.
Yeah, it may be obvious, but that doesn't make it less good.
Dude, I don't think Scythe is that obvious. I think that's low-key sci-fi. I would say good job because
alt history.
Yeah, because I didn't write it down. I didn't even write Scythe down, and I'm looking right at it. It's right there. I'm looking right at the damn thing, and it's like, oh, well, duh, that it's sci-fi.
Yeah,
so, no, good pick, Mike. Really good.
And truly, just to go back to the origins of it, it was really that box art that made me go,
"Oh yeah,
what is this?
Yeah,
what is going on here?"
It's funny because I had the opportunity to play a prototype of this before it came to Kickstarter.
Yeah,
at my sister's. Bob, were you with us?
Yep, I was there.
And yeah, because it's funny because for mechs, I think they were using Eclipse ships for the mechs, and the cards were like printed out and pasted to Magic cards, and sleeved.
Wow, that's wild.
And it was one of the first games I'm going to speak for both of us, Bob, but I'm pretty sure it's like one of the first games that we played in prototype form.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, I mean, we were aware of Stonemaier because of like viticulture, you know, and Euphoria.
Yep.
Probably in reverse order, Euphoria, then viticulture. But it was a really cool experience, and this game's badass.
Going back to a question from way earlier in the stream, this board has tons of Easter eggs in it too.
Oh, it does. You're right. Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
tons of great Easter eggs in this board. Little Red Riding Hood and
Santa Claus is on that board, isn't he?
Yeah.
To go to Pablo though, so you want to talk about some honorable mentions.
Oh yeah.
So GKR, Giant Killer Robots, is 1,000,000%. And our honorable mention, I talk about it a lot, so I try to leave it off of my list this time. Mechs vs. Minions, where I think I just talked about this game recently on a show.
Yes,
IP games.
Monday or Wednesday.
And I was also trying to stay away from IP games. But man, you talk about, again, amazing production values, both GKR and Mechs vs. Minions, top notch.
Yeah,
absolutely top notch production values.
Yeah,
I have not played Planted, so I don't have anything good or bad to say about that. But I also will shout out Cities of Venus from 10 Robot. And then there's the sequel to that.
I'm waiting for my copy.
Cities of Venus Survivors, which is really good. Which is very cool. Quantum. I don't know if anybody else here has played Quantum.
I love Quantum.
Yes.
Yes.
I was trying to stay away from space games.
Quantum. You know what? I should have put it on my list. Why didn't I think about that? Oh,
Jason,
I love that game.
Literally the third game I wrote down was Quantum.
Oh man, it's so good. God, it's so good.
I just love how your ships change, right?
Yes.
And they do it so they do it in such a simple, smart way by it's a D6. And so whatever face
it is
the ship.
Brilliant. By the way, do you know that game saddens me so much because that designer was a one-off, never did anything else. Came out with that game. That game got published, went out of print. You cannot get it anymore. And that designer fell off the face of the earth. Doesn't even go on BGG. Doesn't ever talk about anything. Never published another game. Never designed another game. I mean, it's just like, what happened? How do you come out with a game like that and then just disappear?
2013.
Flat Earth. You just walk off the edge and you're gone.
Oh, that's what happened.
Yeah. But yeah, 2013. I mean, what an amazing game. I am so happy that is in my collection because trying to track down a copy is nearly impossible now.
Yeah. Now, did your copy come with the sticky dice? I emailed and had to get my dice replaced because mine were sticky.
Oh, I got lucky. Yeah, mine were okay. Mine were okay.
I mean, it's fine. I was like, I don't care. I mean, but if they'll send me replacement dice, that's fine too.
Sure.
I mean, they're 6-siders. Like, who gives a shit? You know,
you can do what you can do, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh man, what an amazing game.
Oh,
I cannot believe I forgot that game. That should have been my number one. Honestly. Wow.
All right. Yeah. Seismic sucks. Quantum's my number one. I'm just
fantastic.
Also, I had Bob, I think you have my copy still of this. I hope you do, because I don't have it. Excavation Earth is a really cool game. You are aliens going, and you're basically digging up the relics of Earth. Oh. You borrowed it from me like 2 years ago.
Yeah, you're like, you need to learn this. Yeah, there it is, right there.
Yeah, just give it back to me. I'll teach you how to play it. Excavation Earth's really good.
I really want to try that.
Yeah, I really like it. Zaya, Legend of a Drift System, one of my favorite sandbox games.
Love it.
Absolutely incredible. Clank in Space. Again, you talk about games with Easter eggs. Clank Catacombs is my favorite now. But
other than Legacy.
Yeah, Legacy is pretty fun so far. And then a couple other weird ones. Baseball Highlights, just talked about that recently, I think. It's technically sci-fi because they're cyborgs and robots. But I love baseball. And then Spectrops, Bobby, we talked about Spectrops.
We just talked about it. That's why I left it off.
Yeah, great game. And How to Serve Man. You are aliens at a cooking show cooking up humans. That was made by some designers in St. Louis. I don't think they've made anything else ever.
I was about to say, I don't know that I know that game. I don't think I've ever heard of it.
It's like inspired by the old Twilight Zone episode.
Nice.
And then Processing from Seppi from Fight in a Box. Basically aliens have come and taken over the earth, and everybody's lining up to be processed. You're either going to be food, probed, or I forget what the other thing was. And then Reality Shift, also super cool with magnets. It's kind of Tron, the board game, right? You've got the cubes and your bikes and you're racing around. Super cool, really fun. I will stop talking now. Those are all I ran through all the honorable mentions. Oh, After Us, the best one.
I literally thought that was going to be somebody's one.
Mike, I thought that was going to be your number one. After
Us? Oh, I don't know this game.
Oh, it's my favorite. It's like one of my favorite deck building games right now.
Oh, wow. I might have to look this up. Okay. I don't know that one.
Published by Pandasaurus, art by Ian O'Toole. I don't remember who designed it. Basically, it's like 20 years in the future.
Not Ian O'Toole.
Or not Vincent Dutray. Excuse me. Other amazing artist.
Yes.
But so it's like chimps have taken over, right? Apes have taken over.
I've seen this box art. I just didn't follow the game. I didn't know anything about it.
And so you play these cards out, right? You draw a hand of cards and you basically are going to lay them out and you're going to line them up. And then these resource boxes are going to line up. And the ones that you can fill up are what you get. And then so you're going to get, basically everybody's going to play all their cards out at once, arrange them, gain your resources, and then you've got these little tokens that are the different faction or different types of ape. And so they kind of specialize in different things. Like they're going to more likely to give you this or that. And you basically pick which kind of ape you're going to buy because all the resources, they cost different things based on that. And you top deck from that ape's deck, either the better version or the weaker version of the card. So there's like a cheap version that's like 3 resources, and there's the good version, which is 6 resources. And so you just buy the one, it goes right on top of your deck. So you
get it right
literally
away.
Are going to get that card on your next turn. And it's like first to 60 points, 80 points, 80 points triggers the end of the game. It ramps up very quickly. This game plays super fast. It's beautiful. I love this game. Absolutely love this game. I thought one of you guys was going to talk about it.
It's great. It is a fantastic game. I love how it takes the AP of which card do I want to buy. You can play it's six players, right? Simultaneously
in an hour.
And everything's just kind of, super quick. I love deck builders that one lets you get your new cards right away. You don't got to put in your discard shuffle and hope you get it sometime. And then 2, there's lots of ways to call your deck and to get rid of the bullshit starter cards. So you're just drawing those super powerful cards and just doing all the cool stuff. And it really ramps up quick. It is a very good game.
Yeah.
It's a constant serotonin drip as you're just constantly getting resources, and you can get the super powerful cards right away and put them on the top of your deck. No delayed gratification, simultaneous play, no waiting for people. This game's great.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of, again, right? It's sort of like my first pick, or one of my first picks. It's A Wonderful World, right? I mean, it's kind of the same thing. It's very instant gratification. You're firing right away, right? You're just doing stuff right away.
Wasn't there? This is like the same concept too, as there was a Discovery Channel like miniseries by the same name, right? Was it called After Us?
Wasn't it showing like how fast like buildings and everything would like and the roads would break
if
down?
All humans, yeah, exactly. If all humans just disappeared overnight, they were kind of showing this 3D animation of like how long would things last? You know, like how long would the Hoover Dam last, and how long would electricity still be on, and you know how long would it take before roads would just get overgrown? And I could swear it had the same name. I bet it did.
It might have.
So here you go. You're talking about how long humanity would last. 2083. Humanity has been extinct for several decades. That doesn't give me much hope as to what's going on here.
We need a colony ship.
We need a colony ship stat.
Yes.
Well, the problem is it's going to be tariffed going through the stratosphere.
Right. Yes. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Don't worry, we'll all get deported to an El Salvadorian prison for
that's right.
dissenting.
Yes. Yeah. We'll have to build our colony ship there.
Yeah, that's true. Go on with your list.
I was just going to say, I actually ended up with a ton of extras. The IP ones that I had was Rebellion. I just loved that game. I mean, man,
Absolutely.
It's like, you know, I know a lot of people like the Imperial Assault game.
Love it.
It's a good one.
My one.
Rebellion. If I'm going to play a Star Wars game, it's going to be Rebellion. You know, it's just, man, it's so good.
Just talked about this the other night. Yeah.
Somebody in the Discord put Tim's list is Star Wars Rebellion and then repeated 4 more times, and that's like that could have been accurate. So yes, Jason.
Yeah, the other one that I really like that was IP based anyway was Dune Imperium. Dune Imperium is a worker placement game. It was based on obviously the newer, kind of the newer vibe of the new movies and everything. I really like it, but I only like it with the expansion with it. And because if you've never played the expansion one, and I actually have not played the I think it's called Uprising, or with the kind of the same game but slightly different
expansion, Jason.
Yeah. What's that?
Rise of Ix?
Expansion?
Oh, yes. Rise of Ix. Yes. Rise of Ix. Okay. That's the one that I highly recommend. I think the game is borderline mediocre, if not almost unplayable without Rise of Ix. I think that it really, really relies on it. In fact, in my opinion, it almost feels like once you add that expansion in, it really feels like that was the complete game. And they excised that for the initial launch. And so if you've ever played it and you are kind of mediocre on it, try it with that expansion. And that now feels like what I would call a complete game. There's a lot of mechanics that didn't get fully realized in the base game until you add the expansion. And suddenly it feels like, oh, that's what they were trying to get, to work. So really good one. Highly recommend that one. You guys mentioned this one as well, Anachrony. I have the Infinity Box. It's an amazing game. Like Tim said earlier as well. There's not enough games doing time travel. I love that game. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, in fact I kind of fashioned the box for Cysmic after the Infinity Box. Nice. So I love the game. Tiny Epic Galaxies is another one that I think is actually overlooked a lot.
Best of the Tiny Epic games, in my opinion.
By far, yeah. I tell people all the time who are kind of, looking for some kind of small travel game or whatever, get rid of all the other Tiny Epic games. Only buy Galaxies. It's the only one you need to own. Lords of Hellas, I'm slipping a little bit into,
it's sci-fi. It's sci-fi.
It is sci-fi in my opinion, damn it. I love Lords of Hellas.
Oh, I love that game so much.
It's so good. And and one of the things, by the way, about Lords of Hellas, I felt like, building the monuments it's such a cool idea. and you play a whole game and you may never even see a monument get built. And that was one of the things also on why I wanted the colony ships to be like this buildable thing, but I wanted players to see that through. And in Lords of Hellas, that's one of the most unsatisfying parts, is not seeing these awesome looking like minis get built out there, So Lords of Hellas, love the game. I did try Lords of Ragnarok. I was kind of okay with it. I still, in my opinion, I feel like Lords of Hellas is a better game. At least the vibe is, to me, better.
Ask Mike real quick about Lords of Ragnarok.
Oh, okay. Tell me.
Reviews have convinced me of exactly what you've said. And I played Lords of Hellas once, and that was while Ragnarok campaign was live. And I backed it all in, and it's just sitting in the shipping box.
He's never even opened it.
Sell it and pick up Hellas.
Yes,
actually, Lords of Hellas might be the first game that Mike and I have played together, right?
It was.
Wow.
100%. Yeah.
Wow. Lords of Ragnarok is, in my opinion, the Euro version of Lords of Hellas. And it's still a fine game. I find it boring. My game group found it boring. We played it a lot, too, because, again, it's beautiful. And I went all in. It was like a $400 pledge because I did the whole, like, crazy wash and all that stuff and everything. Got the play mat. Everything that you could get, I got for it because, again, Lords of Hellas is one of my favorite games. And so I was like, oh, man, this is just going to be like more Lords of Hellas, but better. And then we got it. And I was like, the first time we played it, everybody was just like, man, like, what happened? And, we played it again. We were like, oh, we just, it's just that first game jitters. We need to play it again. We played it probably 5 times in a matter of like 2 weeks. And by the 5th game, we were just like, Lords of Hellas is a better game. Yeah. And I sold the entire Lords of Ragnarok. I just sold the whole thing at a board game convention, and I've not looked back. And Lords of Hellas, I am more than happy to keep that one.
So, I've got my all-in Lords of Hellas pledge. It was the first Awakened Realms game I backed.
Yep.
And then I got burned by Great Wall.
Oh, I've got Great Wall. Oh, geez. Yeah.
Have you played your Great Wall yet?
I have. It's fine. It's not amazing by any means. I actually found it kind of boring. It's got its moments, but it is not.
I want to love it. I want to like it because I think it does some really cool things, and I love the aspect of the wall, and I love like I love the concept of the actions.
Yes.
But there's a weird disconnect there, and I don't know what the problem is.
I know exactly what you're talking about, because when I think of the Great Wall in my head as a game, and I even think of the mechanics, I just go, this game has like everything that I want.
Yeah.
And then when I play it, I'm just like,
ugh.
Huh. Yeah, it's like somebody made you a cake, but they didn't get the batter right or something.
Yeah,
it's like
it's salt instead of sugar.
Right? Yeah, it's like there's like just something like it's like this should be great, and it's just not. It is very disappointing. But yeah. Anyway, going back just to some of my other ones here, I did have some going back to kind of Revive and some of those other like post-apocalyptic when it comes to sci-fi. I had Thunder Road Vendetta. I highly recommend that game.
Very good.
I love that game. I actually owned the original Thunder Road from 1986. Nice. And when this got announced, I was like, oh, I'm all in. And of course,
Restoration crushed it. They absolutely crushed it.
I think that is their pinnacle, in my opinion. I know a lot of people love the Dark Tower and some of the other things they've done, but in my opinion, for me, Restoration games hit their pinnacle with Thunder Road Vendetta.
Dark Tower is amazing and it's great, but Thunder Road is more accessible to me.
Yes,
in my opinion.
Absolutely, yeah.
My opinion.
I also have on here for the post-apocalyptic stuff, which kind of falls under sci-fi. I had 51st State.
Haven't
Master
played
set
it yet, but may apply soon, so it may not feel as fun. I don't know.
It's yeah, this is otherwise known as Greenland. So anyway, the another game in that same realm, that same vibe or theme is Ruination. I don't know if you guys have ever tried that one.
Oh yeah.
Which one?
Ruination. Yeah,
Ruination.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Travis Chance.
Right? Travis Chance. Yeah, it's a Colossal Games production. I got the expansion for it in just about a month or two ago. So really like some of the design choices on that one. Good game. And then finally, we've actually talked about a couple of these already. I had Andromeda's Edge on my list as well, which again was the game that made me choose my manufacturer. I had Stars of Ikarios, which somebody had mentioned in the chat.
Yeah, I haven't played it. I haven't played it.
Good stuff. It's basically Gloomhaven in space. And then I had GKR on my list as well, again for table presence and all that.
Yeah, baby.
And then the last two that I was really thinking about putting on the list, and I really like both of these games. One is Federation. Don't know if you guys have tried that one.
Nope.
It was a Kickstarter, came out not that long ago. It's probably a 23 release. Federation is very, very good. It's worker placement, but it's worker placement in a very interesting manner. I like the system. Unfortunately, somebody has told me. Did you play it?
Yeah, yeah, we played that at.
We did play this. Yeah. This was clever.
It's got a lot of really clever ideas going on. I liked a lot about it. There's a little there's some refining that needs to happen to it, but there's so many clever ways that this game works. I really recommend checking it out a lot, but some people online have claimed that it is quote unquote solvable within sort of a reason. And again, kind of like Mike said earlier about Beyond the Sun kind of feeling a little samey. I've heard also from people that if you play this 20 plus times, the game is basically just like you're not going to get anything new out of it. So I have not played it 20 plus times, so I'm still looking forward to playing it.
Well, let me just say, if you spend, let's just say $50-$60 on a game and you play it 20 plus times, you got your money's worth.
Absolutely. And then the last one on my list, and I had a lot here, actually, I guess it was like 18 games after it was all said and done. But the last one on my list was similar to Federation because I got them around the same time, and they're also both worker placement. And that's a game called Ceres, Ceres. And it was kind of a low print run Kickstarter. If you've never played it, the graphic design's a little rough around the edges. The component quality is okay, but the gameplay is actually very, very interesting. I like the game quite a bit. There's a lot of very cool ideas going on. And if you haven't checked it out, it is absolutely worth giving it a go. It may not be for everybody. It's not very hard. It's actually quite simple, but there's a lot to unpack as you're playing. And me and my game group, it was one of those games that our first play, everybody was like, it's fine. And we packed it up and didn't think about it again. But it was one of those games that I started thinking about after playing it. I started thinking about it more and more and more. And I actually threw it back on the table the following weekend, which is kind of rare. And I was like, let's play this again. And sure enough, we played it and everybody was like, oh yeah, this is really good. I really like that. And so, if you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. I think it was a very, very small print run, though. It may be hard to track down.
I mean, that is some banger box art, man. That box
I love it.
Great.
Yeah,
absolutely great. Love it.
Lots of cool things going on. It's you have to get workers that are not your color, and the workers match up with card colors. And so the workers come out of a bag, and so there's certain colors that are not even guaranteed to come out. And so that's a little bit of you're pulled in so many different directions because the main board has worker placement spots, but so does your own player board, and so does your tableau. And so when you go to place a worker out, you've got literally this gallery of options that you're just like staring at, and you're like, if I do this, then I got to do that. But then if I don't do that, but then this over here, but that means I got to rely on them not taking those. And it's one of those things where you can pivot very quickly, but if you want to do what you want to do, you really need to take advantage of the things that are available at that moment. And so it's a constant race to get the things done that you want to do. Very good game. I highly recommend it. It's just it didn't get a whole lot of love.
I'm definitely gonna have it on my radar now. So
it's good stuff. It's very different. It's not like anything else out there. So
interesting. Yeah. Super quick. Pretty much everything on my list has been mentioned. The only thing that hasn't been mentioned is Project Elite. I really enjoy the real timiness of that. And if somebody keeps, you guys are just rolling your die and doing things and taking actions, and that somebody just keeps moving that alien closer and closer. It's like, dude, stop rolling, okay? You can't roll good. Stop rolling. Yeah,
I love that one. It's a good one.
I got a couple I'd run through real quick. I thought maybe Gaia Project would come up.
Yeah, Evan brought it up.
I like that one.
I've only played 30% of this because
it's long.
we were playing and it was going long and we were told to stop playing.
Yeah, it's long.
Because we had to go to bed.
Big fan of Planet Unknown. Not very thematic, but polyomino, simultaneous play, moving up tracks, and all kinds of combos. That just combo works for me really well.
I like that one a lot.
Always been a big fan of Cosmic Encounter.
Yes, I forgot about this one, Mike. Good one.
I love it.
Love the negotiation and the player interaction, and your group makes the game, and that's what makes it fun every time you play it. One that does not get talked about very often is Sidereal Confluence.
I was just gonna go get the box because when you brought up the
nice.
when you brought up all the negotiation, I was like, oh, but wait, Sidereal Confluence. I love that game.
Got one play of this years ago, but basically, like, your faction is adept at producing one type of resource, but to fulfill contracts, you're going to have to make trades with certain other factions to turn your resources in for contracts, and you're producing, and then you just got this long negotiation phase where you're figuring out, okay, who can give me what I need to fulfill these contracts to get points, and tons of trading and negotiating. It's one I'd love to play again, but it's there's a lot going on. There's a lot to teach. You gotta have the right group. Completely different than the other one. But man, I have played nothing like Sidereal Confluence. Did Bob even mention Abyss at all? I thought that would come up.
That's not sci-fi, is it?
Yeah, it's categorized as sci-fi on BGG.
Well, I feel like it's more fantasy.
Yeah.
Maybe. Dinosaur Island, Roar and Write, or Dinosaur World. Take your pick. I like both of those better than base Dinosaur Island. I was left kind of on those. I think Dinosaur World actually thematically feels more like running a dinosaur park. And the Roll and Write game is actually really good. Twilight Inscription, the Roll and Write based on Twilight Imperium, is also great.
That's what I missed. I love it.
It's a good
game.
One. Yeah,
that's my favorite Roll and Write.
My favorite Roll and Write. Yeah, for sure.
I'm also a big fan of Moonrakers. Again, I love negotiation. So when you add deck building and negotiation with IV Studios production, that game I'm just a big fan of.
I gotta play this game.
Yep, Moonrakers is very good.
I got it. We gotta play it.
I'll add a couple more real quick. One is an out-of-print TMG game called Chimera Station, where it's a worker placement game, and you're adding these parts, these aren't different tentacles to your aliens, which makes them better at activating certain worker placement spots, which is kind of clever. It sort of feels like how you upgrade your worker in Darwin's Journey, but they do it by adding like tentacles and arms to your workers and stuff. And then last but not least is, of course, Dark Moon, one of my favorite social deductions.
Oh yeah.
Dark Moon's great. That is great.
I forgot about Mission Red Planet, by the way. That's another fun one too. I don't know if you guys know that one.
I think I played that one. I think that's the one I played.
Certainly like still sci-fi, even though it's kind of steampunky at the same time. But
that is the one I played.
Yeah,
that is the one I played.
Would you call Skyrise sci-fi?
See, I had Skyrise behind me, and it is kind of sci-fi.
I mean, if you're going to qualify Scythe as it, you could almost qualify Skyrise as it. It doesn't have the label on BGG, but it's got floating island cities. That's not.
A magnificent city in the sky, which is certainly fictional. So
hey,
maybe not science.
I know a guy that could sell you some stuff, and you will see cities in the sky.
Oh, wow. How
Nice.
much
You
a
got a
gram?
guy already?
His name is Mike.
Great.
Oh, just
I love
kidding.
Skyrise, but yeah.
Just
it's
kidding.
amazing.
Oh, Wayne, did you see this? Wayne did not like Moonrakers.
I can
Oh.
see that because you get to a point where like you have to decide who you're going to include when you take someone on a mission, and then you also have to negotiate on if they help you on a mission, how things are divvied on the card before they commit their resources. I enjoyed it, but I could see flaws, and I only played it once, so I didn't get to see all the flaws.
Well, and I think Andrew just popped in to remind us that Wine Cellar technically is science fiction because you're never going to have the
Because I don't
perfect.
have a wine cellar.
You're never going to have the perfect wine collection. It's impossible. So
I can't wait to get
science
that
fiction.
one.
Nice.
Oh yeah, so Wayne said it's an ultimate kingmaker game.
Oh, Moonrakers. I have heard
Moonrakers.
that.
So
I have heard that.
You have to decide who you're going to bring on these missions, and that's who's going to score points. So I can see it.
I mean, I don't know. The fun thing about like lists like this, you could throw whatever you want on there. You talk about games you love. You know, we get to highlight some other ones.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, we got to cover like a really wide swath of games.
Right.
It's always fun.
That was a fantastic play.
Oh yeah, that's so
Not
good.
out.
So good.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess technically Cysmic isn't out yet. So
Yeah, that's true. Soon though, very soon.
So okay, yeah.
We're getting there.
Fine. That's fine. Yeah, it's coming. It is coming. Oh wait, here Andrew's throwing up his top 5 real quick.
Ooh.
Oh yeah,
Galactic Cruise already. Okay.
Wine
We'll get to
Celluloid
that.
Invaders. Is he joking or is that a real game?
No, I think that's it. I think he's
Okay.
specifying
Nice.
the game.
That's the
By the
sci-fi
way-
version of Wine Cellar.
By the way, I really like Apiary. I don't know if you guys have played that one. That's a
I
good
haven't.
one.
Crispies. I haven't played it yet. No.
It's
It's a good
good. It's
thing.
actually good. I like that one. There was another one, Tapestry, that Stonemeyer put out. I like Tapestry quite a bit.
Oh,
too,
I
but,
really like Tapestry. I think
yeah.
Tapestry, weirdly enough, kind of got like a weird rap when it first
Yeah.
came out, and
People did not like it.
Well,
I actually dig
that's
it.
a-
Some of the factions could be.
Right.
Does
They have to come out and
Civ
rebalance
game
them. Yeah.
was the
Yeah.
other knock on it.
whatever. It's fun. I think the rule book is a little like iffy at times, like trying to learn it that first time. But once you know it, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not, I feel like your brain is trying to make the game harder than it is. It's really
I
very
agree.
straightforward.
I'm with you, Tim. I think that game is extremely simple to teach, and it's a turn your brain off kind of game. You don't really overthink it. You just go
Pick a
for it
track.
and just
Pick
yeah,
a track and just go.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yep, that's
man.
the way I feel.
We have Galactic Cruise, have not played yet. Looking forward to it.
I've got it up here, sitting
Yeah.
here. I've already unboxed it. I separated it, got everything together. I have not played it yet.
Yep, got
We're getting
one.
content out for that eventually.
Yeah, if we don't play it by the time we go to IndieCon, my brother-in-law Patrick is going to teach us.
Ah, nice.
Sweet.
So, yeah, okay. So yeah, good job, Andrew. I thought it was, but you never know, right? Like I don't want to be like, oh, that's not real, and then actually,
He's just gonna see if when somebody goes, "Oh my God, Wine Celluloid Invaders, that's my favorite game."
that's the best one. Like that dude's full of shit.
Right.
Yeah,
Jeez.
Steph, we are now in the honorable mentions. Yeah, with top 20 each with honorable mentions.
Just ended.
Yeah,
I gave you my
we're
top
wrapping-
19.
We're wrapping up.
Wow. Mhm.
We are wrapping up. Steph's on the other side of the world. Usually watches
Day's
us
just
while
starting. Yeah.
he has his coffee, and then watches the rest later after work.
Nice.
But which is cool. It's cool that we got
Yeah.
people that
At least he doesn't have to pay extra to watch the show over there.
they're watching. Yeah, that's true.
Yikes.
But Jason, I hope you had a good time, man.
Absolutely, yeah. I so much appreciate being here. When Wes told me about you guys initially, and I had heard your names around, but at the time I just wasn't that familiar with you. And then he said, "Yeah, let me bring the game over. I'll take the prototype over and let them check it out." And I was like, "Yeah, sounds great. I mean, that's fantastic." I said, "I'm curious to see what they think." And then Wes told me you guys actually ended up playing it a couple of times and really got into it. So I mean, I was just like, oh yeah, that's amazing. And of course, when I watched the discussion about it afterwards, I mean, my face lit up. I mean, you guys couldn't make me any happier with everything you said. So nice about it. So I really appreciate all the coverage.
I mean, anytime we do any kind of coverage, whether we love the game or not, we hopefully have like actually captured what the intention was, whether or not it lands, right? Like, so anytime we at least represent somebody's game well, or accurately, honestly, you just hope that comes across.
Of course. Yeah.
But yeah, with your game being so unique, it's like, it was like, we have to do a video on this thing because it's just crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But
a literal crate.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. And I'm a person that has like 3 totes full of one game, Cthulhu Wars. And I have another tote.
I have everything for Cthulhu Wars. I have like an entire calyx and a half of Cthulhu Wars boxes. So yeah.
And, yes. And I have Planet Apocalypse, everything for Planet Apocalypse. So this shirt is definitely out of fashion, but the shirt I am wearing tonight.
Oh yes, hey, I mean, 5 years ago you would have been like a superstar for wearing that, but these days, I think somebody might spit on you if you go to a convention.
Oh, dude, they'd kill me now. I'd be in the pillory, by the balloon sculpture at Gen Con. People throwing eggs at me.
Right.
But I did back then. I was before we had the show. I was demoing Cthulhu Wars and Planet Apocalypse at the Peterson Games, for Peterson Games, so that I could go to Gen Con for free.
Oh wow. Unreal.
But I was a backer. Like I was like a fan. They put out sort of they throw up the bat signal for help, demoing games. And I'm like, hell yeah, I know this game, forwards and backwards. And so like, oh no, I've got to go and play Cthulhu Wars all day. Like, this sounds terrible.
Oh
yeah. And I don't have to bring my copy. I can just set up theirs. Like, even better.
Sadly, I was a huge fan. In fact, by the way, it's a fun fact. Me and Arthur got together in December of 2019. They were ready to go. They were going to publish Cysmic because I wasn't going to publish. Peterson Games, they were going to take Cysmic and they were going to draw it into the hyperspace universe. Yep. And we were like contracted. We were ready to go. It was like I was heading up to Dallas to bring it to Sandy, and we were going to sit down and he was going to give me like a little bit of feedback, and it was a done deal. Like, we were like, okay, yeah, this is definitely up our alley. This fits our game design, fits our table presence. This is going to be our audience. We're all in. And I'm like, great. Oh my
God.
COVID happened a week before I was supposed to go up there and sit down with Sandy and spend the weekend.
Well,
and Arthur was supposed to come down.
Right?
Yeah, he's in Texas.
Too. Yeah.
So I was going to drive up, and then COVID happened. And basically what happened, of course, from there is their entire business model went to hell.
Yeah.
But, and of course, everybody I'm sure now, knows the story. But sadly, I am a backer of Planet Apocalypse, the other one, the God War, Glorantha.
Yeah.
I had Hyperspace. I was an all-in on all 3 of those campaigns. None of those, of course, God only knows at this point, but none of those are ever going to ship, I'm sure. Yeah. And I am into Peterson Games right now. And this was stuff I backed even before getting into like this whole relationship with them, where they were going to publish Cysmic. But I was into Peterson Games for $2,800 of outstanding product. And I did finally get $1,000 worth of Cthulhu Wars stuff that I backed. I finally got all that just recently. I've got all the dice. I've got every board they've ever made, every faction. Yeah. I've got all the minis for all the different gods and everything.
Yeah,
everything that you can buy pretty much for Cthulhu Wars, I've got it. And I could not believe when I just got all that in. And of course, that just happened, 4 or 5 months ago. And
yeah.
But of course, all the rest of that stuff is it'll never materialize. And Hyperspace, man, I played it with the guy who did the guy who did all of Peterson Games's tabletop simulator stuff is the guy who did Cysmic's tabletop simulator mod. And so he was all in on all of it. He was working for free for copies of the games, which he'll never get either now. So man. Yeah, it's a real sad situation, and I'm out basically about $1,800 worth of pledges that I'll never get.
The problem is, and I've said this before, and I will continue to say it. I think that Sandy and Arthur are like super nice dudes, really talented designers, and really terrible businessmen.
Yep.
I mean, I
completely agree.
And it's really unfortunate because they're going to get this really horrible rap. And I'm not saying they don't deserve it, but they're actually really nice people that are in a very bad situation. That is probably a lot of it their fault. Like, I'm not going to excuse anybody's behavior or anything like that. But man, because when Cthulhu Wars, I backed that. That was the first big Kickstarter that I backed, and I spent a lot of money on it. And my wife was like, "You better get this game." And then it took forever, right? It took 3-4 years to fill.
Yeah,
and
it's a great game. It's an amazing game. It's one of my favorites.
It's one of my all-time favorite games, and it's probably one of my most played games, especially because I demoed it, right? And I love it. I actually, my brother-in-law, like, we're going to Indianapolis next month for like a small convention. And my brother-in-law is like, okay, so we're playing Cthulhu Wars. Are you bringing yours or am I bringing mine? and I'm like, yeah, I'll bring mine. I don't care. I'll lug it down there just to play it because I love it that much. I just wish that their other stuff would come out, and then they had the whole thing with Quimbley games and you thought, oh, everything's going to come. And then that all fell through, and I don't think Quimbley Games realized the mess they were walking into.
I think they had good intentions, but I don't think that they knew. I don't think they had an idea.
And for a minute, Catalyst Games was distributing the Sandy Peterson stock that they had, the Peterson Games stock that they had. And I thought for a minute, oh, Catalyst picks all these up, like maybe stuff will go out, but Catalysts, I think they just made that deal to sell the existing stock to raise funds. The only thing I don't have for Cthulhu Wars is the giant Haster, the God in Yellow or the King in Yellow thing. That's the only thing I don't have. I have everything else.
Gotcha. I've got that one too.
Nice. I have you could only get it with the first Kickstarter, that Hounds of Tindalos mini.
Oh, I don't have that. I don't have that. I couldn't come across that one.
Yeah, that one's tough to get. But God damn it.
It just makes me, it's one of those things too, where you even talk about Cthulhu Wars now. And of course it just has that, that era, that aura. It's that aura of shame because you can't even enjoy the game anymore with people because they're just going to be like, oh yeah, and it's like,
they stole all my money. And it's like, it's a bad business investment. Like they're not thieves. They're just bad at.
It's like all the people who bought Teslas and then they had to put a sticker on their car and said, I bought this before I knew, It's
right. Yeah. Please don't paint a swastika on the side of my car.
Exactly. And so I think that's kind of the same thing. It's like on my Cthulhu box, I'm going to have to put something like, I seriously, this is still fun. No, really.
Yeah. I had this when they were still a viable company.
Right.
It's like, please.
So I'm with you. I get it. But, oh man. That's so sad, right?
Well, I'm glad to hear you love it, though. I'm really glad. And I really, honestly, though, even happier that you dodged a bullet with Cysmic, because if you had signed with them, you'd have been in freaking limbo.
I would have been sitting here for years now doing nothing with the game, and they would have had the IP. It would have been sitting there, and I would just be, obviously livid about the circumstances. But, I dodged a bullet, and it was just weird timing. Can you
I
believe
know a
it?
good board game lawyer if you ever need your rights back.
Right. Yeah, it's good. Well, luckily that my wife actually talked me into doing self-publishing because I had so many different bad experiences with publishers.
Yeah.
And because Colossal was the initial publisher for Cysmic. They signed the game the very first time they saw it. They didn't do anything with it for 2 years, and I got the rights back. Then me and Van Ryder Games were actually talking for quite a while. They loved the game. They wanted to publish it, but this was really before they had become like a mega hit company with Final Girl. Yeah. And then, because they got cold feet right at the last minute because they were like, God, this game's going to cost a lot to manufacture. And I'm like, I know, but I said, this is the vision I have. And so we finally kind of decided that it just wasn't a good fit. But those guys are great. AJ is fantastic. I talk to those guys still off and on, and there was no hard feelings at all with them. And then of course Peterson was the next one who wanted to pick the game, and they were ready to go. And literally just COVID happened, and that was the only thing that I dodged a bullet from.
And their production style and vibe, like it fits, right?
It fits exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like the same thing with getting Awaken Realms. If like Awaken Realms, right? They put shit out on that level. Bam, right here.
And that was my vision. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted CMON, Awaken Realms, or Peterson Games. Those were my dream publishers for Cysmic. And when all of that, when CMON would return my calls and Awaken Realms was like, no, we only do internal. And then Peterson Games, was like, yes, we'll do it. I was like, oh my God, and you're in Texas. Oh, this is going to be great. I love your other games. This is like perfect. A marriage made in heaven,
Yeah.
And then COVID happened and I was just so distraught. And then little by little, I started realizing, maybe that wasn't so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually kind of like, I've got a bunch of Peterson Games stuff, like a lot of their smaller box games. And now I'm wondering, I should probably just hold on to them because you'll never be able to get them again.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
they'll be, those are collector's items now for sure. You won't find them anywhere else.
Right. It's too bad. It's too bad. But, well, that was fun.
Yeah. Well, I think we've bored Bob and Mike to death now.
I know.
Man, I've had a long week, man, and I got to be up again tomorrow morning for they're coming to work on my basement.
Oh shoot!
My basement floods every time it rains. So.
Oh man, that's horrible.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Do you have basements in your part of Texas, Jason? I know there's.
No.
Exactly.
No basements here. Yeah, we're barely above sea level down here. So
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are close to the river. So is Mike, but Mike's got a good basement.
Yeah, true.
But anyways, that don't matter.
No.
This is awesome, Jason. Thank you so much for coming on. If we wait with bated breath. Hopefully, we can. Hopefully, stuff calms down, becomes realistic and reasonable again by the time Seismic's get ready to ship over.
Crossing fingers.
So we can, because we want to see that game. I want to play it again.
Awesome. I can't wait for you guys to check it out again. So yeah, for sure. Let's keep our eyes on the news and hope that, common sense prevails soon.
Let's go, man. Let's go. But, and again, thank you for giving us your most precious commodity, which is time. And unlike Anachrony, we don't have the mech suits to go back in time.
For sure.
But
awesome. Well, thanks so much for having me, guys. It's been a blast. I really appreciate you guys having me on and talking with me about all this. It's great. I love it. And thanks for covering the game, of course, as well. So
that was our pleasure.
That's the easy part.
No doubt.
Nice.
It's talking people into coming on and doing a live stream with us is the tricky part, because it's not everybody's cup of tea,
Sure.
And we are very free flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I told you I won't. If you let me talk, we'll be here all night. You have to just get rid of me. You just have to say cut the feed.
Yeah, I do the Midwestern goodbye. It's like my wife would be like, "We need to leave in an hour. Start saying goodbye now."
Right. Exactly.
But awesome, guys. This was really fun. Thank you for everybody that watched. Hopefully you had a good time. We always want to hear, if you're watching this on the replay, what are your top 5? What did we miss? And we'll see you next week, right? I mean, every Wednesday, same bat time, same bat channel. For the board game rundown, I've been Tim.
That was Bob.
Mike.
And I was Jason.
Yes, we did it. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
We'll see you guys.
Good
next
job,
time.
Stonemeyer. A 7.3 repeating. Heating.